Previously on Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 6.
それは、ケイちゃんを、
怖がらせたくなかったってのか？それが理由で俺だけのけ者かよ!
Oh my god, I think I remember. This is from Chapter 1, isn't it? When Keiichi confronted Mion. Rena wasn't holding me down. Mion wasn't about to give me an injection. Was all of that just some kind of illusion? Apparently. Rika-chan approached me in the midst of my sobs.
ケイイチは覚えているのですか？
Yes, I do!
レナとミーを殺したことを。
そうだ！俺が殺したんだ！殺したんだ！なのに俺は何の罪も認めずに、まるで自分は被害者のつもりで、死ぬ最後の瞬間まで仲間を呪って恨んで血がいっぱい出て、そして惨劇は回避できる。運命には抗える。俺たちはあがく。そして掴めるんだ。その先の。
Rika-chan nodded with a serious look on her face, and she put her hand in the pocket of her shirt.
ケイイチ、私も諦めない。この世界から希望を失ってたまるものか。
本日は皆さんとの間に生じている誤解について説かせていただきたく、この
誤解。
発端はとてもさまつでございます。ここにいる葛西が竜宮レナとの個人的事情により会見を求めたのです。よってこの度の件は葛西辰義と竜宮レナ個人間のこと。
Ushi appeared unable to accept the fact that was facing him. But now that he was actually looking at it, it was too difficult to ignore. Mio Takano was an occult geek who had laughable ideas about the legend of Orikafuchi. But Rena took them seriously. And so had Ushi.
私ね、この戦いを終わらせる方法を見つけたの。
Dare I ask what that is?
待てよ、レナ。明日の準備って。
内緒。ケイイチ君に協力してもらうこともあるかもしれないけど、その時はレナを助けてね。
What are you... I don't like this. What are you going to do? I'm getting a bad feeling here.
ああ、当然だぜ。
I nodded strongly so she could tell that I was still on her side.
今回も同じ顛末なのです。そうかしら。よく似てるけど、いろいろと違うところもあったわ。ケイイチ、前のことを覚えてたし。そんなことはありえないのです。覚えているわけ、いや、知っているわけはないのです。あんたが絶対にありえないと言ってくれればくれるほど。じゃあこれは本当に奇跡なんだって思えるわね。
And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 6. I'm still dreading whatever Rena's got in store for us. I don't think it's going to be very good. At all. I'm just wondering just how bad is it going to be? Like, she says that everything is going to be okay, and that everything will be done, taken over with tomorrow. And one of the first things that she said to Keiichi, right as they met up the previous night, was she wanted to say goodbye. So I'm thinking she's probably thinking of doing something drastic, like, I don't know, going on a freaking shooting spree or something. against, I don't know, maybe the leaders of not Higurashi, of the village. But since this is Japan we're talking about, post World War II, getting your hands on a firearm if you're just a civilian is pretty damn hard. At least through legal channels, anyway. In fact, last I checked, I think it's practically impossible. So, can't be something like that. Poison a bunch of people? Maybe, if she knows how to make some poison. So, I don't know. I really have no idea what exactly she's planning to do. All I know is I don't feel good about it. But I'm just repeating myself, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. And we're just gonna see for ourselves whether or not I'm right to be fearful. Although I'm pretty sure I am. Walking and following me on to school made me miss Rena a lot.
どうしたのさ、ケイちゃん。さっきからキョロキョロしてさ。
なんでもないよ。
It was the same old path to school. But I felt nervous for some reason. You and me both, man. I wondered what Rena meant when she said she was going to win a come-from-behind victory last night. I couldn't stop feeling like something dangerous was going to happen. Rena thought Mion was one of her enemies. She could be lying in wait to attack Mion with a knife.
大丈夫だって。レナがそんな短絡的なことをするわけないよ。まあ仮にそうでも自分の身くらい守れるからね。
Mion sat brightly as if trying to tell me she wasn't afraid of anything. I don't know, someone tells me it's going to be a bit more drastic than just attacking you with a knife. Call it a gut feeling. But I couldn't be optimistic like her, because I knew exactly what Rena was going through. Rena must be determined by now, and she probably wouldn't mind dying fighting against Mion if she wasn't going to win anyway. Of course, that didn't mean she was definitely going to take violent action. But I couldn't deny the possibility either.
それよりおじさんが気にかかるのは、どうしてレナが急に変になっちゃったのか、その理由の方だね。
Was there any reason? Oh, I think there is, and ironically enough, it's within those scrapbooks that you're all so quick to dismiss. I remembered the tragedy. I couldn't remember what made the world go crazy, but I remembered we got lost in that awfully scary world. It started with small things, and those small things continued to pile up one after another. If you thought about it calmly, you'd laugh because it was really a stupid thing. But once those little tiny stupid things started to bother you, you couldn't ignore them. It was that kind of disease, if you could call it one. But there must have been a reason. There must have been a reason that made the world go crazy. But it must be such a small thing that you couldn't even notice. Like a parasite? And unfortunately, the reason was very difficult to understand. And you wouldn't be able to figure it out until you died.
親戚にお医者がいてね、ちょっと聞いてみたんだけど、脳とかに腫瘍ができて、たまたまそれが珍しいところだったりすると、性格が急に変わったり、普段と別人みたいになってしまうことがあったりするんだって。大昔はこの病気が悪魔つきや狐つきなんて呼ばれて、オカルト的に脚色されてたこともあるんだってさ。
Fox demons.
ってことは、つまり脳という体の一部に起きた肉体的な病気ってわけか。
Well, if this thing is a parasite, I guess it could be possible that it could root itself in your brain. I mean, my theory stems from this thing basically working off people's fear and whatever chemicals that your brain produces that could instill fear responses in your body. So, maybe then it would make sense for this thing to lodge itself in your brain, where the chemicals would be excreted, right? At least I think that's where those chemicals are excreted. Don't see where else they could
今
be
回に関しては
excreted from.
精神的と捉えてもいいかもしれないね。レナはリナ鉄平殺しの後かなり動揺していて、心が不安定になってた時期があった。そんな時期に大石のバカタレが富武さんたちの事件を大げさに吹き込むもんだから。
大石さんって人もさ、高野さんのスクラップ帳に少し似てるとこがあるかもな。
へえ、どの辺が？
なんていうのかな。ひなみ沢村連続開始事件というものが存在しているというあたりについて盲信しているというか、現に5年連続で起こってるのにこんなことを言うのもなんだけど、俺さ、もともと連続事件なんて存在しないんじゃないかって思ってる。
And that's where I disagree with you. It was true that the mysterious incidents happened 5 years in a row, but they were each solved individually. It was the same as a past you didn't need to talk about. We thought of them as a series of mysterious deaths, which is why we thought something was going to happen this year too. And it does. It led us to think that there was a conspiracy, and that the Sonozaki family was behind it. We connected these things to the series of mysterious deaths, but we shouldn't do that in the first place. Just like I tried to keep my distance from Rena when I found out about her dark past. Wasn't everybody trying to keep their distance from the dark past of Hinamizawa? Takano-san's scrapbooks are a good example. She dramatized both recent incidents and old cruel history, and she made feasible stories out of them, saying that the Sonozaki family was behind it all. Ushi-san did the same thing, too. He was so convinced that the Sonozaki family was behind it all, it was making him interpret things the wrong way. In that sense, we could say Ushi-san believed in the same delusion as Rena.
その辺にはさ、何かあるごとに黒幕のように振る舞う園崎家の責任もあるんじゃねえのかな。
That I am definitely willing to agree with you on.
この村では何かおかしなことがあれば全て園崎家の暗躍。それで決着をつけられてしまう魔法の言葉になっちゃってるんだよ。例えて言えばほら、この世の現象は全てプラズマで説明できるみたいな感じだよ。
Plasma? Okay, that's interesting.
ほー。つまりそれは何を？園崎家が全部悪いってわけ？
That is literally what he did not just say.
そうだ。お前が全部悪い。
Never mind, I guess you want to contradict yourself.
よって、お前の名前は今日からプラズマミオンと呼ぶ。うわ、なんだかレスラーみたいな名前だな。
はあはあ、プロレスラー大いに結構。
Oh. Huh, never knew that.
そうだけじゃん。コブラツイストって知ってる？
やめろ。このクソ熱いのに絡みつくな。いててて。やー
I like that they can both just spontaneously
おはよう
decide
ございますですわ、ケイチさん。
Good morning, Satoko. I like that they can both just decide to spontaneously wrestle with each other like this, considering everything that's going on. Although, I guess that probably means, though, that they're not feeling too bad about things right now. Which I guess is a good thing, honestly. But, you know, I'm still nervous about what's coming later our way here, so it's just gonna probably end up making things hit that much harder when Reina's plan, whatever the hell it is, finally becomes apparent to us. Because I'm a cynic. At least when it comes to Higurashi. And I definitely don't think that it's going to be a good thing.
おはようなのです。
Good morning, Two-Face. Satoko and Rika-chan looked a little sad when they saw only the two of us. If the three of us came to high school together like always, they would have been really happy. But our classmates were as noisy as usual. Nobody seemed to make a big deal about Rena's absence. Chi-sensei was going to be here soon, and she'd start morning homeroom. Everyone was fooling around as if they didn't want to miss a second of the time until then.
ねえ、今日は臭い。窓閉めて。
バーカ。窓を閉めたらもっと暑くなるんだよ。
It smelled like gasoline or something. Gasoline? Are you sure? Someone from the forestry service must be putting gasoline into construction equipment or something. I sure hope that's what it is, because if it's not and there is gasoline involved, then maybe I might have an idea of what Rena might be up to. And it's gonna get hot. Although maybe it's too soon for me to be jumping to conclusions like that. Some students near the windows were making a fuss because they wanted to close the windows to shut out the smell. Our school wasn't a normal school compared to others. We were using a part of the forestry service building. Unusual things like this happen sometimes.
いやいや、こんなの大したことないって。いつだったかな。貝塚いぶきを剪定した枝葉をトラック山盛り何杯分か運び込んできたことがあってさ。あれはひどかった。あの独特の刺激臭は頭痛を起こさせるよね。貝塚いぶきって何ですの？
Well, number one, it is a planet within our solar system, and number two, it's a type of plant.
お野菜の名前なのです。
Vegetables are basically grow from the ground like plants, so I say on pure technicality, I was right.
たまにカレーに入ってますのですよ。
今度スーパーに行ったら探してみろ。
よくわかんないけど、最初はリカとケイイチさんに毒味をさせた方が良さそうでございますわね。
あれ俺たちのボールがね王女、お前がまた隠したんだろ。
The boys seemed to be looking for their ball for a while, and they yelled at Satoko. Okay, gasoline and a ball. I'm not sure I understand the connection here, if there is any.
誰がそんなものを隠しますの？どうせ隠すならもう少し気の利いたものを隠しましたよ。ほらほら、先生来たよ。みんな席に着きな。はい、皆さん。
Morning, Teach.
席に着いてください。
I kept thinking about Rena the whole time during class. I thought about what she said last night. I wonder what her come from behind to victory means. According to Takuno-san's delusion, the masterminds behind the bioterrorism were the three families, and a group of fanatical believers that controlled those three. In other words, the Sonozaki family. What could Rena do alone against them? Mion lived with her grandmother, the leader of the Sonozaki family. There were only two of them in the house. It was possible that Rena would try to break into their house with a knife. But I had already come up with that possibility last night. That's why I called Mion and warned her. On the way to school this morning, Mion told me some bodyguards from the Corps has been at her house since morning. She told me she'd be guarded herself, too. There was a black car parked near the school gate. It must have been in the bodyguards. But, according to Takuno's parasite theory, the battle wouldn't end just by attacking the leader of the Sonozaki family. according to the delusion she believes in, the conditions of her victory were more complicated than that. She needed to expose the group of fanatics who were behind the Sonozaki family, and she needed to destroy their research on the parasite. Plus, Rena didn't have much time left, thanks to that suspicious poison she mentioned. But how exactly could she win a from behind victory under circumstances like that? Well, maybe gather all the leaders of the village into one convenient location and find a way to execute them all. Would be the first thing that comes to mind. But the question is, how could she pull something like that off by herself? She might interpret that the town council are the group of fanatics. If so, she might attack them the next time they have a meeting at the shrine. The town council meets once a month at most. It would be hard to believe that they were holding a meeting today. So unlikely then. And I doubt there's been any recent. No, you just said that you doubt they were holding a meeting, because if there was going to be any meeting involved, I'm sure you would have heard something from Mion. So it can't be that either. So, if not gathering all the leaders in one location, then what else could she do? She probably thought the place researching the parasite is the Irie Clinic. Set fire to the Irie Clinic? Rena suspected that there was something fishy about the clinic from the beginning, and that suspicion must have changed to certainty in her head by now. Did that mean she was going to attack the clinic? This wasn't like an action movie. What could she do all by herself? Was she going to start a fire? No, that'd be pointless. In order to expose the conspiracy, she'd have to get proof that they were actually studying the parasite. I didn't even think about that. Good point. That would be very counterproductive towards getting proof, wouldn't it? Was she going to break into the clinic and get unquestionable weird samples? She would have to know what she was looking for then. But I don't necessarily think she does. The last problem of all was how much time she had left. If she believed she didn't have much time left, especially under desperate, disadvantageous conditions, she might try to stab whoever she thought of as an enemy. But just going around stabbing people wouldn't really get her very far. The police could be called in, and even if it takes them a while to get here, I don't see any reason why none of the people in the village could perform a citizen arrest on her and subdue her until the actual proper authorities arrive. She can't get at all of the leaders at once, because they're not likely holding a meeting today for any reason. She can't destroy the clinic, because that would get rid of any potential evidence that the clinic may hold. Infiltrating and stealing samples from the clinic may not necessarily work, because she likely doesn't know for sure what to look for anyway. She may end up getting something that is the exact opposite of proof. So it's kind of a shot in the dark. And going around stabbing people, as we just said, won't really work either. The only other thing I can think of is she's going to do something super drastic that will bring media attention to the village. But what that drastic thing is, I'm not exactly sure. But it would have to be something huge that would get the attention of the mass media in Japan and bring a whole lot of eyes onto the village. And then, once she gets enough eyes on the village, she would then just have to try to get her message out. But no, that can't be it either. Because at this point, she did say that she's probably convinced that there are a bunch of duplicates of people running around, possibly the entire prefecture at this point. So, And I think she might have also mentioned the whole world as well, at least once, but I don't remember for sure. But if she's not counting the whole world, then she might have to do something so drastic to where it could catch international attention. I can't think of anything. I need more clues here. I need more information before I can at least think of something that might actually make sense. But Rena sounded like she really believed she would regain her happy and peaceful days after everything was over. Rena probably meant she was going to stay alive and win. Was there something to like an antidote? It didn't have to be real. As long as it was an antidote to Rena's delusion, it didn't matter what it was. It could even be the water you wash your vegetables with. But if she thought she could get the antidote so easily, she wouldn't have been so desperate about the time she has left. The antidote must be difficult for her to get. The easiest place for that, in her delusion, was that it was hidden somewhere in the clinic. Putting it all together like that, I felt like Irie and his clinic were in danger. But that's the problem, but it just comes right back to the same problem with trying to get samples of the parasite from the clinic. She doesn't necessarily know what to look for. What if this hypothetical antidote, much like a sample of the parasite, if it even exists in this clinic, aren't given an obvious label that tells anyone looking at it what exactly it is, like a barcode or something, you know? Same with the antidote. If it's given like a barcode or some generic name here that doesn't really give a clear indication of what exactly it is, she could just find herself in a room filled with all kinds of antidotes and samples like that, and she wouldn't really know for sure which one to take. Now that I thought about it, the elderly people in the village, including the members of the town council, hung out in the waiting room of the clinic all the time. Why do they do that? If most of the board members happened to gather there, for her, it'd be the perfect place to attack. I told Mion about that during lunch break.
普段ならそんなバカなって言いたいところだけど、その可能性を全く否定できなくもないからね。本家に電話してみるよ。診療所にも人を配置するように言っとく。
Mion didn't object to my crazy idea. She put down her chopsticks and went to the teacher's office to make a phone call.
先ほどからなんだか物騒な話でございますけど、本当にレナさんがそんな恐ろしいことをなさいますの？診療所を襲うなんて信じられませんわ。
That's just it. We really don't know for sure. And that's the frustrating part about all this.
するかもしれない。しないかもしれない。でもな、怒っちまったらおしまいなんだよ。惨劇に抗うってことは、起こさないように戦うってことなんだから。
何事もないことを祈りたいのです。
You and me both. Oh, hello. So, we finally have a dialogue option. And clearly, going by the check mark, I'm going to assume that this one here is the correct one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right ahead and select the wrong one first. Yeah, I guess. To Rika-chan, who had whispered that,
ちょっと俺、ミオンのところに行ってくる。
I wonder how long the results of this wrong action is going to take me before I can come back here. After taking my leave from them, I left the classroom and headed to the faculty office where Mion had gone to make a phone call. It's not like I could do anything, even if I stayed by her. I just hated staying still doing nothing but wallow in anxiety.
わかりました。若いのを2人ほど診療所に送ります。
まさかとは思うけどね。何をやらかすか分かったもんじゃない。
姿を見たら直ちに引っ捕らえてしまって構いませんか？
本当は嫌なんだけどな。どうしようね。
先日の会合で竜宮レナを確保して警察に引き渡すことで決着しています。ですので引っ捕らえても一応筋は通ります。
うちの対面じゃなくてレナの心情的に気の毒だなってこと。できたら本当に静かに決着したいんだけどね。
まあお若いですから、人さえ殺さなければ大抵はごめんなさいで済みますよ。
じゃあアウトかもだ。
いえいえ、見つからなければセーフですから。
You forgot to put the phone filter over his voice here.
セーフ。沖宮の界隈ではあの二人の失踪を気にする者はいません。何かのヤバい話を踏んで夜逃げしたんだろうということになっています。あの程度のゴロつき、次から次へです。ですからセーフ。
アウトだのセーフだの、私ら野球拳でもやってるわけ？まあいいや。それじゃあくれぐれもよろしくお願いします。
了解しました。
There we go. The filter is back.
では引っ捕らえてよろしいんですね。
ちゃんとタッチアウトにするんだよ。クロスプレーなんかにしないようによろしく頼みます。
Chasing would be exciting though. I couldn't help but have a silly chat with Kasai-san. When I put the phone down, I sensed Chi-sensei was looking at me. No wonder, as she had been able to hear the conversation clearly in this tiny room. Chi-sensei put her spoon down, and with a sad look on her face, she asked the following.
今の電話は竜宮さんをめぐる話ですか？
まあ、はい。
園崎さん、竜宮さんはどうして家出をしちゃったんでしょう？お友達として何か知ってはいませんか？
It was hard for anyone to understand Rena's situation, except for me and Kei-chan. Don't forget Rika. So most of them thought that Rena just ran away from home. But after she did, the cops made too much of a fuss over it. Ueshi stupidly believed that the scrapbooks were a big scoop, and he overreacted in trying to find Rena. He had patrol cars running around everywhere in the village. He even used the town council's phone directory to find her. So, people in the village thought Rena did something wrong and was trying to run from the cops. What was going to be difficult for me, more than finding her, was to make up a story to retrieve Rena's honor after they detain her. What about this? Rena went for a walk, fell down and hit her head on the edge of some tofu and lost her memory. Tofu? That's soft, squishy shit? Are you nuts? Ueshi misunderstood something big time, and he thought she was a criminal. It was too easy. Anyway, we did make it clear that Ueshi was the one who misunderstood everything at the meeting the other day. I had to make the best use of his name while he was feeling down for once. What I'd have to do was not make a big deal about this situation, and to create an environment that allowed Rena to forget everything that happened, in order to get her life back together as soon as possible.
大丈夫ですよ、先生。レナは今ちょっと病気になってるだけです。それを警察の某ベテラン刑事が素敵に勘違いして話をややこしくしただけです。
Now, there's no need to make fun of his girth.
まさか先生、レナが悪いことをして逃走中なんて信じちゃいないですよね。
それはもちろんですけど、でも家出することによってご家族におかけしている迷惑を考えれば悪くないということはありません。
She had a fight with her father, and she ran away from home for a little while. She acted childish, and that's all. Maybe that'd be the best story to go with.
何か悩みがあったのでしょうか。それに気づけなかった私は教師失格ですね。
No, it's not your fault.
一度竜宮さんとじっくりお話がしたかったです。
先生、ちょっとヘビーに考えすぎです。
Your heart's in the right place, but trust me, there was nothing that you could do to help her.
もうちょっとリラックス。プチ家出なんて今時珍しくないですって。
竜宮さんがこのまま不良になってしまって悪いことを始めたらどうしましょう。
Like kicking down random stacks of motorcycles? I know, it's a very horrible mental image. Ryugu-san becomes a bad kid. She does something bad and gets arrested by the police. It's her teacher's responsibility. I'll be dishonorably discharged. I can't eat curry anymore. Why would that even happen? I'm dead. Dear God, you're paranoid. And I thought I was paranoid. Ch.6 seemed comically upset by her own imagination. It looked funny, so I decided to leave her alone. I made to leave the teacher's office to go back to the classroom, but... right then, the phone rang.
はい、もしもし。ひなみ沢文庫でございます。
Ch.6 had to answer the phone all day today because the principal was on a business trip. I exited to the hallway. Then I heard the tone of her voice change.
今どこにいるんですか？
Is Rena making her move? What? I yelled and looked back at her. It was probably Rena. She called the school. I tried to go back inside the teacher's office, but Ch.6 gestured at me not to come in. Ch.6 acknowledged what Rena was saying several times, and then she looked up at the clock.
わかりました。今からすぐ行きます。先生との約束ですよ。
She said only that, put the phone down, and got her purse out of her locker.
院長、先生は休養ができました。しばらく表へ出ますので、みんなを自習させてください。
Could you please fill us in? She took her car key out from her purse. It was obvious that she was going to see Rena somewhere. Have somebody tail her!
先生、今の電話はレナ。
以上です。よろしく頼みますよ、院長。
Don't withhold shit from me! Ch.6 completely ignored me and she ran out into the hallway. She ran to the schoolyard and got in her car.
ケイちゃん！
どうした？知恵先生慌ててどこに行ったんだ？
レナから電話があった。
なんて？
I ran after a teacher without answering that. Kei-chan followed behind me. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car twice. The moment her car left through the gate, I ran out to the schoolyard myself. I headed for the black car parked near the gate and knocked on the window.
お疲れ様です。今のところ異常ありません。
違う。今出て行った先生の車を追って。多分、行く先にレナがいる。
何？
Keiichi yelled in surprise, but there wasn't any time left to explain it to him now.
レナは警戒心が強いから注意してね。捕まえたら有無を言わさずに本家へ放り込んで、葛西の指示に従うこと。私の友人だよ。怪我なんかさせたら許さないからね。
Rena must have told Ch.6 that she wanted to talk to her alone. I could tell that easily from the way she ignored my question. I did feel a little bad for ruining her promise, but it was very important that we caught her before she did something wrong. We could still make up an excuse that she was just wandering around because she had a fight with her father and ran away from home. What I want to know is, why is she blurring Chi-sensei to her? Well, if she set fire to the clinic or something, there would be nothing I could do.
ミオ、俺も行く。
ケイちゃん。
先生がレナのいる場所に向かったんなら、俺も一緒の方がいいはずだ。頼む。
そうだね。確かに。じゃあケイちゃん、早く乗って。
わかった。
I think you meant get in quick. Kei-chan opened the car door and swiftly climbed into the passenger seat. While we were dilly-dallying, Teacher's car was beginning to disappear from our line of sight. We could only pray we didn't lose sight of her.
よろしく頼んだよ、ケイちゃん。
ああ、任せとけ。
The car made a rough U-turn on the gravel road, and it chased after Chi-sensei's car at full speed. As they tailed the shadow of the disappearing car, I could only pray for this series of misfortune to end on a quiet note. Misfortunes, you mean? Chi-sensei's car soon came into view. It was traveling at a very fast pace, but thankfully, she was the sort of person who didn't drive above the speed limit. We passed the stone steps of the Farouk shrine and left the paved road part way into a coarse mountain trail. Where we were headed wasn't even to the damn construction site where the mountains of trash lay. We were headed to an unknown location which I wasn't aware of, as I was still unfamiliar with the area.
この道ってどこに続いてます？
山の方っすね。このまま行くと谷をまたいだ隣の町へのルートになるっす。
As if it nodded in agreement with the driver's words, the vegetation around us opened up on one side, and we saw mountains in the distance, and a valley between them. I saw a stream up ahead and a suspension bridge straddling it. According to him, there was certainly an unmanned office cabin in the vicinity set up for emergency purposes. Judging by Chi-sensei's panic, had Rena threatened to jump off from there or something if she didn't come? If so, then why exactly? That's right. Just why had she called Chi-sensei out to the suspension bridge? So that's where we're heading, the bridge. The sudden question triggered a throbbing anxiety, which spread across my chest. First of all, what did Rena even have to do with Chi-sensei? I mean, it's not like they were on bad terms. Rena was a good student, so she had a good relationship with her teacher. But it's not like she had a trusting relationship with her, enough to call her and consult her on such affairs. And also, why the suspension bridge? If it was a threat to jump off if she didn't come, the shrine had a good enough elevation for that. She didn't have to call her all the way out here. Maybe to get her as far away from the rest of the village as possible?
しまった。
I was astonished, finally having understood Rena's intentions.
運転手さん、千恵先生の車を止めてくれ。
え？
早く。
As we noisily rang the car horn, Chi-sensei's car came to a halt, almost close enough to hit us, and she got down looking stunned. You mean got out? And after recognizing me in the passenger seat of the car behind hers, she tried to yell out, but I beat her to it and cried out, "We're in big trouble!"
何？
先生、俺たちレナに騙されたんだ。レナはここにはいない。
Yeah, because she wanted to get us away as far away, get you as far away from the school as possible. What's she gonna do at the school? The teacher didn't understand what I was talking about and donned a confused expression. But there wasn't any time to explain it to her, so I flew towards the phone booth near us, put a 10 yen coin in a slot, and dialed the phone number to the staff room, which I vaguely recalled. How convenient that there was a phone right here. Ring, ring. Please, Somebody answer. Mion, Satoko, Rika-chan. I don't care if it's somebody else either. I had to tell this to the people at school fast. So hurry. Hurry up and pick up the phone. And then after the phone rang around 10 times and I'd almost given up, the call went through.
もしもし。
Rena?
すみません。俺、前原です。すぐに、園崎美音に繋いでください。もしもし聞こえてるのかもしもし
I didn't know if it was because I was using an old phone, or because the line was too far away, but I couldn't hear anything from the receiver. And then, when I was about to raise my voice and yell into the phone...
何圭一くん。みーちゃんに何か用かな。かな。
I freaking knew it. My prediction was on the mark. It was even worse than I had imagined.
レナ、そこにいるんだな。
うん、いるよ。みーちゃんたちも一緒にね。圭一くんがいないのが残念だよ。一人じゃなかなかやりづらくて。
Do what?
うるさく騒いだり泣いたりして頭にきたから、何度か殴っちゃった。
Oh my fucking god, you're taking the school hostage, aren't you?
なんてこと。おいレナ、いいか、ここには千恵先生もいる。だから落ち着いて俺の話を。
圭一くんはそっちに行っちゃったのか。だったらお話はこっちで聞くね。早く来てね。待ってるから。
おいレナ、待て、切るな。
Those words fell on dead ears. Well, soon to be dead, but I think he meant deaf. Well, then again, I don't know for sure if she's actually going to be dead. I'd be surprised if she survives, though. Rena, who was on the other side, swiftly ended the conversation like it was nothing.
Okinomiya TS より全社へ。Okinomiya TS より全社へ。ひなみ沢営林署にて籠城事件発生。人質多数。全社は至急ひなみ沢営林署へ向かわれたし。
クマちゃん、遅れて申し訳ない。状況は？
ご苦労様っす。本日午後1時頃、ひなみ沢営林署内のひなみ沢分校区画にて教室占拠が発生しました。犯人側の第一要求は営林署敷地内への一切の立ち入りの禁止と当保へのホットラインの確保です。
ってことは初めっから警察と交渉する気ってことですか。どういうつもりだ。
あと犯人は交渉人に大石さんを指名してます。犯人は竜宮玲奈。
竜宮さんが？わかりました。いいですよ。とことんお付き合いさせてもらいましょう。
Ushi gave a crooked smile.
竜宮玲奈以外に犯人がいるか不明です。カーテンが閉められているので状況も一切確認できていません。
通報者に選挙時の様子は聞いてませんか？
いえ、竜宮玲奈からの直接の犯行声明でした。よって内部の状況は一切不明。担任と生徒の1名は犯行直前に竜宮玲奈の電話呼び出しを受け、遠方に呼び出された間の犯行でした。
計画的ですね。営林署側の人間は人質には？
今日は営林署職員は不在でした。よって生徒24名のみ。生徒数は担任が出席簿で確認した人数です。
それプラス犯人ってわけか。竜宮玲奈以外に
犯人らしき人影は？
いえ、何度かカーテンから覗く人影がありましたが、いずれもリュウグウレイナ本人でした。ですが規模他を考えて、おそらく最低でももう一人二人はいると予想されます。
レナちゃんはとても真面目ないい子なんです。こんなことをするなんて何かの間違いに決まっています。
I feel real bad for her right now.
大丈夫ですか？
Does she look okay to you, detective? Ushi ran up to Chi-sensei, who was crying with a handkerchief held up to her face. Chi-sensei was huddled over, and Ushi didn't think he could say anything else to her.
おう石殿、もしできるなら人質の交換を申し出たい。ぜひ私と子供たちを交換していただきたい。
Somehow I don't think she'll agree to that. I'm going to assume she's gonna reason she'll need more people to hold hostage, so she has a bigger hand. She has a bigger hand of cards to deal with, you know.
校長先生、私が悪いんです。
先生方、どうかご自分を責められないでください。先生方には校内の状況についていろいろとお聞きしたいことがありますので、ご協力をお願い。ボンチ君、図面の方で話を聞いてあげてください。
失礼します。1号車の無線に高杉課長です。
はいはい、もしもし。
大石さん、ご苦労さん。状況の大体は熊谷君に聞いたよ。犯人は未成年だそうだね。マスコミ規制の方を厳重に頼むよ。
分かってます。あと犯人側が私を交渉人に指定してきてるようですが、
とりあえず犯人の要求なら致し方がない。頼んだよ。
おいさん、車載電話に犯人です。
早速ご指名の電話が来ました。早速出ることにします。ありがとう。はい、もしもし、大石です。
I clenched my teeth in frustration and rolled up my fists into a ball. An overwhelming wall of police officers blocked my way, and I felt pathetic for only being able to watch the teachers and the detectives from afar. The reason behind why Chi-sensei had been phoned and summoned out of the school. For Rena, who wanted to hijack two classroom, the biggest obstacle was Chi-sensei. She was someone who had a strong sense of justice. Even if Rena had held a pistol to her, Chi-sensei probably wouldn't have hesitated. For the welfare of her students, she would put herself in danger. Getting rid of someone like her was the primary step in order to hijack the classroom. Attacking her from behind would have been her very first line of thought, but I'm sure she decided taking on an adult directly was a risky affair. In that case, it was better to lure her away to some place. Rena had then phoned Chi-sensei, and then told her she wished to seek her advice in some place private, and asked to meet her near that suspension bridge. Including Chi-sensei, a good majority of the people thought that Rena had merely run away from home. So Chi-sensei probably thought Rena merely had some troubles she wished to discuss. Fooling her was that easy. So, where did Rena make the call from? Probably from within the forestry building, if I had to guess. Yes, it was from within the school. Well, not exactly. It was most likely from the first floor of the school building. From the office room of the forestry service. The forestry service at our school is more like a branch office, so it wasn't like the staff were always present. Depending on the day, they might not even be there. Rena had known this, and had been hiding on the first floor all this time. And then, she made a call from the ground floor from up there, and sent Chi-sensei to a faraway place. It probably wasn't a coincidence that the principal had also been away on a business trip today. Rena had most likely snuck into the school yesterday itself. And then she had discerned the principal's itinerary and the workings of the internal phone line before she put her plan into action. How cunning it all was. No, I understood. Right now, even as she was possessed by a murderous rage, Rena was keeping her composure. She was unbelievably calm despite being plagued by her delusion that controlled her. And so, just thinking about it made my head spin. Because I had even personally experienced what she was going through before. Also, what was even more unlucky was the absence of the Sonozaki family bodyguard who had been standing by the gate. It was because Mion had sent him to follow Ch.6 who had set out to meet Rena. We really screwed up there. Fuck, everything was so screwed up. On so many levels.
今ですね、県警の暴隊と公安部で一斉捜査作戦を準備中なんです。何しろ市内全域を一斉にやりますからね。遅すぎる。
大石さん、私たちは今獅子骨市が置かれている緊急的危機についてよく理解し合っているんじゃなかったでしたっけ。何をのんびりとしたこと。大石さん、本当に私の話を信じてくれているんですよね。私の味方なんですよね。味方ですよね。答えてください。
もちろんですとも。ですが、警察組織ってやつは簡単じゃないんです。私も最大限努力をしてるんですよ。ただですね、やはり話の規模があまりに大きすぎるもので。
The negotiations weren't that satisfactory, to be honest. Even as they spoke, it was clear from the overwhelming tension that Rena's patience was wearing thinner and thinner.
じゃあ、圭一君を呼んで。
は？今何とおっしゃいました？
そっちにいるんでしょ？彼と話をするから早く呼び出して。
わかりました。
Ushi asked one of his subordinates to summon the boy who stood in front of the line of the crowd who gathered at the barricade. He immediately jogged over to the car as soon as he was called.
前原圭一さんですね。
はい。
竜宮レナさんがあなたと話がしたいそうです。通話代わってもらえますか？
わかりました。
Ushi then handed over the receiver to Keiichi, and he noticed something happening outside and left the car.
もしもし。
圭一君、よかった。戻ってきてくれたんだね。
レナ。
警察がね、レナの言うことを信じてくれないの。レナの言ってることが本当で、レナがやろうとしてることが本気だって、圭一君からも言ってくれないかな。
I don't doubt any of it, Rena, believe me. But this is not exactly the best way to go about it.
やろうとしてることってなんだよ。
今この教室にね。
Jesus Christ! You did pour gasoline all over it. All over the school, or at least the classroom.
だから、レナが持ってるライターでちょっと火をつければ、ここにいる人質はみんな死んじゃう。それを、大石さんに教えてくれないかな。
なんですかあんたたちは。
どきたまえ。ここの責任者は誰だね。
To repeat what Kumagai just said, who are you people? Several cars had arrived, producing several men. They weren't from the Okinomiya station. One of them was wearing a suit, despite the hot weather. He approached me, pushing Kumagai aside.
おや、これは。お久しぶりですね。県警本部の大高くんじゃありませんか。
言葉を慎みたまえ。もう君に君と呼ばれる階級ではない。
何かご用ですかね、大高くん。今非常に立て込んでいます。まさか県警がこの現場を乗っ取ろうつもりで？誰の了解で？
私が許可した、大石君。
所長。
I think this could go on a list of top 10 anime betrayals right here.
高杉君から事情は聞いている。君が蒔いた種だという話も聞いているぞ。君はもう下がって、あとは機動隊に任せるんだ。
機動隊って。大高君、あんたまさか吸収する気ですか？
危険は重々承知だ。だがもう爆発まで時間がない。
It's not a bomb that's in there, it's just gasoline.
君が時間を浪費しすぎたのだ。
Not that it makes it any worse as far as the end result, any less worse as far as the end result is concerned, but Keiichi, you might want to tell them what's going on.
その尻拭いを我々がしようというんだ。君らは引き継いで後方に下がりたまえ。
I couldn't talk bath if both the chief and a guy from the prefectural headquarters gave me an order.
大石さん、何者っすかあいつは。
大高くん。昔、麻雀がくっそ弱いくせに生きがってたから、ちょいと叩き潰してやったことがありましてね。それともあれかな？剣道大会で偉そうにしてやがったから、面食らわして失神させたのを根に持ってるのかな？
So, in other words, he's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. Got it. Now somebody get him the fuck out of here before he makes the situation a whole lot worse. Obviously, we didn't get along.
大石君、現在の最新の状況を説明したまえ。
あんた、本気で突入する気で？
突入は府警の専門部隊が担当する。君はバックアップに回りたまえ。
I don't think that's Utaka speaking.
所長。
大石君、府警の専門部隊はただの機動隊じゃないぞ。第二機動隊といえば、君ほどの男なら噂くらい聞いてるだろ
う。なんすか、大石さん。第二機動隊って有名なんですか？
Apparently not, because this is the first I've heard of them.
5年くらい前だっけ？空港の飛行機に犯人が立てこもった事件があったでしょう。あれをきっかけに東京と大阪にハイジャック専門の特殊部隊が組織されたって噂は聞いてましたがね。実在してましたか。
でもなんだって府警の機動隊がこんなところに。
Good question. Utaka smiled proudly.
たまたま県警機動隊との交流訓練があってね。特別に応援を要請したのだよ。
Why do I find that hard to believe?
相変わらずですね。話をすぐ派手にしたがるその癖は。
The company members exited the vehicles one after another and took position. They didn't move like policemen.
大高君、あんた学校で銃撃戦をやる気かい？
安心したまえ。突入犯が使うのは火器じゃない。ボート鎮圧用のガス銃だ。高圧ガスで催涙ガスを噴出する。
You better hope that they just drop Rena right on the spot within a freaking second, because if it takes any longer than that, I'm sure she's gonna react fast enough to light up that gasoline and have everybody in there burn to death. You better be fucking sure you know what you're doing, otherwise, you better be prepared to have a lot of blood on your hands, you stupid bastard.
何の問題もない。
へえ、そりゃあ便利な水鉄砲があったもんで。ところでそのおもちゃは校庭を横断して教室まで届くほど便利なものなんで。
それは君が心配することではない。あとは我々に任せて下がりたまえ。
Oh my god, this is not gonna end well. And then, following Utaka's orders, the special forces took positions at a blind spot visible from the school window and prepared to infiltrate. Ushi wrinkled his nose at Utaka's arrogance and pretentious attitude that didn't give way for counter-arguments. Remembering that Rena and Keiichi were having a conversation, He turned on his heel and heading over to the patrol car. And there...
大変だ刑事さん
At once, the door to the car swung open, and Keiichi rushed over to him, screaming.
どうしました、前原さん。
レナが教室内にガソリンを撒いたって。
No.
Gasoline? I didn't hear there was something so inflammable in the vicinity. No, it's not about that. Right now. Stop! Stop him!
待ってください。やめろ、撃つな。ふてー。
Oh shit. Our bodies were promptly blown away and hit the floor. We didn't understand what had happened for a moment. A high-pitched tinnitus violently reverberated within my skull, and an overwhelming dizziness distanced me from my consciousness. My throat and nasal passage felt irritated from suspended dust particles and smoldered air. Spitting out the crunchy debris from my mouth, I dragged my beaten body up into a stance and faced forward, looking ahead at me. Oh, God. There were many police officers scattered about on the ground, groaning from the impact. A voice of agony filled the air next to me. As I faced it, it turned out to be the detective I had been talking to just now. His entire body was covered in dirt and debris, and he was bleeding from his head. As I began to sit down in concern for him, I suddenly remembered Mion and Rena's safety. Oh my God. It blew up the whole goddamn building! Look at that. And then I turned towards the direction of the school. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. What stood before me was a disordered conglomerate of wood, bricks, and other distorted articles mixed in, crudely assembling an enormous camping bonfire. The flames that had risen up between that mass burned so high they seemed to reach up into the evening twilight. What flames? Even from this faraway distance, I could perceive the heat and the scorching smell. This had to be a dream. This couldn't be our school. No, this wasn't even a school in the first place. Well, good going, asshole. You escalate the situation straight from 0 to 100 to 1,000. I staggered over. Fumbling forward with my useless legs, I walked over to that monstrosity. And then before me, amidst the crumbled remains of timber, I discovered a face I recognized and drew a breath before I rushed over. Mion's eyes were wide open, facing my way, with her right arm raised. Her mouth was slightly open, and she probably couldn't speak. I hate to rain on your parade, but I don't think she's okay. I had to get her out of here first. Thinking that, I tightly grasped that right arm. It felt light. There was no resistance. And then from within the rubble, it came out. And then a small mass rolled over and touched my feet. Mion's head had come apart from her body. Once again, good going, officer. You done fucked up. It'll be alright.
わかりました。若いのを2人ほど診療所に送ります。
まさかとは思うけどね。何をやらかすか分かったもんじゃない。
姿を見たら直ちに引っ取られてしまって構いませんか？
本当は嫌なんだけどな。
I do wonder, even though we've selected the correct choice this time, isn't that other group going to just show up anyway, and possibly cause things to go haywire?
どうしようね。
先日の会合で竜宮レナを確保して警察に引き渡すですので、引っ取られても一応筋は通ります。
うちの対面じゃなくてレナの心情的に気の毒だなってこと。できたら本当に静かに決着したいんだけどね。
まあお若いですから、人さえ殺さなければ大抵はごめんなさいで済みますよ。
じゃあアウトかもだ。
いえいえ、見つからなければセーフですから。
And the filter is gone yet again.
セーフ。沖宮の界隈ではあの二人の失踪を気にする者はいません。何かのヤバい話を踏んで夜逃げしたんだろうということになっています。あの程度のゴロつき、次から次へです。ですからセーフ。
アウトだのセーフだの、あたしら野球拳でもやってるわけ？まあいいや。それじゃあくれぐれもよろしくお願いします。
了解しました。では引っ取られてよろしいんですね。
ちゃんとタッチアウトにするんだよ。クロスプレーなんかにしないようによろしく頼みます。
I couldn't help but have a silly chat with Kasai-san. When I put the phone down, I sensed Chief-sensei was looking at me. No wonder, as she had been able to hear a conversation clearly in this tiny room. Ch.6 put her spoon down, and with a sad look on her face, she asked the following.
今の電話は竜宮さんをめぐる話ですか？
まあ、はい。
園崎さん、竜宮さんはどうして家出をしちゃったんでしょう？お友達として何か知ってはいませんか？
It was hard for anyone to understand Rena's situation, except for me and Kei-chan. So, most of them thought that Rena just ran away from home. But after she did, the cops made too much of a fuss over it. Ushi stupidly believed that the scrapbooks were a big scoop, and he overreacted in trying to find Rena. He had patrol cars running around everywhere in the village. He even used the town council's phone directory to find her. So people in the village thought Rena did something wrong and was trying to run from the cops. What was going to be difficult for me, more than finding her, was to make up a story to retrieve Rena's honor after they detain her. What about this? Rena went for a walk, fell down and hit her head on the edge of some tofu again, and lost her memory. Ushi misunderstood something big time, and he thought she was a criminal. It's too easy. Anyway, we did make it clear that Ushi was the one who misunderstood everything at the meeting the other day. I had to make the best use of his name while he was feeling down for once. What I'd have to do was to not make a big deal about this situation, and to create an environment that allowed Rena to forget everything that happened, in order to get her life back together as soon as possible.
大丈夫ですよ、先生。レナは今ちょっと病気になってるだけです。それを警察の某ベテラン刑事が素敵に勘違いして話をややこしくしただけです。まさか先生、レナが悪いことをして逃走中なんて信じちゃいないですよね。
それはもちろんですけど、でも家出することによってご家族におかけしている迷惑を考えれば悪くないということはありません。
She had a fight with her father, and she ran away from home for a little while. She acted childish, and that's all. Maybe that'd be the best story to go with.
何か悩みがあったのでしょうか。それに気づけなかった私は 教師失格ですね。一度竜宮さんとじっくりお話がしたかったです。
先生、ちょっとヘビーに考えすぎです。もうちょっとリラックスリラックス。プチ家出なんて今時珍しくないですって。は
あ、竜宮さんがこのまま不良になってしまって悪いことを始めたらどうしましょう。
Ryugu-san becomes a bad kid. She does something bad and gets arrested by the police. It's her teacher's responsibility. I'll be dishonorably discharged. I can't eat curry anymore. I'm dead. Chi-sensei seemed comically upset by her own imagination. It looked funny, so I decided to leave her alone. I made to leave the teacher's office to go back to the classroom, but right then, the phone rang, and here it comes.
はい、もしもし。ひなみざわ文庫でございます。
Chi-sensei had to answer the phone all day because the principal was on a business trip. I exited to the hallway. Then I heard the tone of her voice change.
今どこにいるんですか？
What? I yelled and looked back at her. It was probably Rena. She called the school. I tried to get back inside the teacher's office, but Chi-sensei gestured at me not to come in. Chi-sensei acknowledged that what Rena was saying several times, and then she looked back up at the clock.
わかりました。今からすぐ行きます。先生との約束ですよ。
She said only that, put the phone down, and got her purse out of her locker.
院長、先生は休養ができました。しばらく表へ出ますので、みんなを自習させてください。
She took her car key out from her purse. It was obvious she was going to see Rena somewhere.
先生、今の電話はレナ？
以上です。よろしく頼みますよ、院長。
Chi-sensei completely ignored me. She ran out into the hallway. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car. The moment her car left through the gate, I ran out to the schoolyard myself. I head for the black car parked near the gate and knocked on the window, so this is the big difference here. Keiichi gets to stay behind.
お疲れ様です。今のところ異常ありません。
違う。今出て行った先生の車を追って。多分行く先にレナがいる。
了解っす。
レナは警戒心が強いから注意してね。捕まえたら有無を言わさずに本家放り込んで葛西の指示に従うこと。私の友人だよ。怪我なんかさせたら許さないからね。
Rena must have told Chi-sensei that she wanted to talk to her alone. I could tell that easily from the way she ignored my question. I did feel a little bad for ruining their promise. But it was very important that we caught her before she did something wrong. We could still make up an excuse that she was just wandering around because she had to fight for her father and ran away from home. But if she set fire to the clinic or something, there would be nothing I could do. The car made a rough U-turn on the gravel road, and it chased after Chi-sensei's car at full speed. I watched the car until it was gone. All I could do was pray that this would be settled calmly. And Mion too. Well, then again, wait. No, she was present here at the wrong end. What am I talking about?
午後の授業は自習になったよ。というわけで、おとなしく席について何かやること。
自習？
Mion ran up to me and spoke quietly.
レナから電話があった。
本当か？
うん。ついさっき職員室に電話が。千恵先生が指定された場所に会いに行ったみたい。
レナのやつ、一体どういうつもりなんだ？
わかんない。とにかくうちの車に先生の後を追わせてる。
レナには悪いけど、そこで踏んづかまえる。
うまくいくといいな。
荒ごとには慣れてる連中だよ。任せとこ。
じゃあ、捕まえれば、一件落着なのか？
だね。そしたらとりあえず病院に放り込むよ。きっと、専門の医者が見たら、なんだってくらいに典型的な何かの病気だよ、きっと。
I doubt that.
強迫性、心因性、ストレス、なんたらとか、多分そんな感じのやつ。
While we were spending our afternoons studying peacefully, the members of the Sonozaki family would capture Rena, who was waiting for Chi-sensei somewhere. The problem would be solved. It wasn't going to be easy after that, but I was sure Mion would take good care of her. And in the end, everybody would understand that Rena just ran away from home because of a silly fight with her father. A happy ending.
一件落着でしょ？
Unfortunately, no. Mion winked at me. She looked like she already thought everything was over. But that just didn't sound right to me. I couldn't see any connection between Rena and Chi-sensei. It was hard to explain, but there was something wrong. I wasn't saying that they didn't get along. Rena was a good student, so Chi-sensei had a good relationship with her. But I just didn't understand what Rena wanted from Chi-sensei. While I was thinking about it, the door opened, and one of our classmates came back from the bathroom. Oh, fuck. She even has her cleaver. With Rena.
Rena!
みんな、起立起立。教室の真ん中に集まって。
Everyone gasped in surprise. Even Chi-sensei couldn't make everybody go so quiet all of a sudden. Rena was gripping the shoulder of the student who came back from the bathroom. In her other hand, she had a big, scary-looking hatchet. Correction, hatchet. It was the same one she had the other night. Everyone immediately understood that Rena had taken a hostage.
みんな、聞こえてない？教室の真ん中に集まって。机は周りにどけちゃってね。
Nobody grasped what she was asking us to do. We all froze. Rena was the only one smiling. It was terrifying. Doesn't look like a smile to me.
兄ちゃん、委員長でしょ？みんなに指示して。
レナ、あんた、何をやってんの？
Bam. A loud noise washed out Mion's voice. Rena hit the teacher's desk really hard with her hatchet. She pulled out the hatchet, making an ominous ripping noise. There was now a line of violence carved plainly into the desk. Uh-oh. She broke it. Chi-sensei is going to be mad when she comes back. I think that is the least of your concerns right now. No, that wasn't it. What the hell?
みーちゃんはやっぱりダメだね。じゃあケイチくんに頼むよ。ケイチくんだけは最後まで私の仲間なんだよね。だから信じていいんだよね。
Rena, your eyes. You look so scary. I've never seen eyes like that in my life. Your eyes are full of insanity. Why are people afraid of insanity? Insanity means that a person doesn't share the same values and the same common sense as us. For example, say if a thief breaks into your house and he ties you up. You'll get scared and wonder if he's going to stab you before he leaves. But you hope that the thief has feelings too, and that he's not going to kill you for no reason. No matter how bad the person is, we tend to believe in his goodwill, as long as we share the same values, the same common sense, and the same morals as him. Morals. But we can't expect goodwill from somebody who doesn't have those things. We can't expect goodwill from a person who can't communicate with us. When a burglar has a knife and you beg him not to hurt you, you expect him to listen to you and show you mercy. In other words, you can still communicate with him. But if he doesn't have the ability to communicate, he's just like a monster that's trying to attack you. Or like the blade of a guillotine that's falling down on you. You fear him because you can't communicate with him. That's insanity. It was the same fear we were feeling towards Rena at that very moment. She looked like a human just like us. But there was no room for her to communicate with us like a normal person could do. Everybody understood that fear instinctively.
ケイチ君、机をどけさせて教室の真ん中に広場を作って。
わかった。みんなレナが言うのに従おう。
Rena was like a barrel of gunpowder at that moment. She seemed really calm and quiet, but could explode any minute. When she did, I doubt she'd show us any mercy. She probably wouldn't hesitate to use that hatchet on us. That's right. Just like how I didn't feel guilty or hesitate to kill Rena and Mion. Everybody went all quiet while pushing the desks against the wall to make a space where Rena wanted it. Rena, saying that we're moving too slow, hit the blackboard with the hatchet, making a horrible noise. Every time she did that, she left an equally horrible scar on the blackboard, the thing that we looked at most in the school.
じゃあケイチ君、みんなのロッカーから縄跳びを出してもらえるかな。それを使ってみんなを後ろ手で縛ってね。
俺縛るのとか下手くそなんだよ。多分上手に縛れないぞ。
後でちゃんと縛れているか全員のを調べる。ゆるい人はその場で殺しちゃうからしっかり縛ってあげてね。
Don't kill the person for Keiichi's ineptitude, man! We were still kids. We saw the word kill all the time. It was used a lot in comic books and cartoons after all. So normally you'd assume we'd be used to hearing the word kill. But when Rena said she'd kill us, it sounded so frightening. I never heard something like that before in my life. To Rena, our lives were like cards she used for negotiation. She'd get rid of one card every time somebody refused her request. Get rid of? Damn it! Why do we use such scary words like get rid of for simple things like playing cards? Anyway, there were about 20 students in the class. I was a little bit too many for Rena to handle. She might get rid of one or two just to set an example. I decided to do what Rena said because I didn't want her to lose her temper. I got out everybody's jump ropes from their lockers.
じゃあみんな床にケイチ君は後ろ手にどんどん縛っていって。きっちり縛るんだよ。ケイチ君は私の味方だもん。だからわざとゆるくなんか縛ったりしない。ね。
Do you want an honest answer, or...? Mion tried to make eye contact with me. If everybody was tied down, we wouldn't be able to stop her from occupying the school. There were more than 20 students in this class. Half of them were boys, but most of them were smaller than Rena. But there were enough people here to overpower her. But if we did that, Rena would probably hit her hostage with the hatchet. And she'd use the hatchet to attack the rest of us without hesitation. It'd be a bloody battle, unless you grab her hand and prevent her from swinging. I'm sure somebody would get hurt if we tried to overpower her. The hostage would be seriously injured, or maybe even die. If that happened, it was over. No matter how hard we tried to cover up, she'd never be able to live peacefully like before. Mion seemed to understand that too. I could tell from Rena's eyes that she wasn't going to go easy on us. If somebody showed defiance, she'd break the hostage's head open immediately. Of course, Rena had done that before. She'd probably do it again with no hesitation. But as long as we did what she said, we could prevent that bloody tragedy. If we could somehow solve the situation without shedding any blood, with Mion's influence, we might still be able to pretend that this never happened. At the least, we had to make sure she didn't kill anyone.
従おう。
ケイちゃん。
Mion tried to think of ways to overpower Rena, but she couldn't come up with any good ideas to save the hostage. That's how easy it would be for Rena to kill them. The best thing to do at that time was to wait for a chance without agitating her further. I could think of a solution for you. Grab something sharp, anything with a blade on it, and then once she gets close to you, make sure your blade is hidden, and then grab her arm that is holding the hatchet, and then hold the blade up to her neck, and reverse the whole hostage situation on her. And if she does something, you threaten to cut her up. There you go. Mion lay down on the floor, and everyone else followed suit, sluggish with terror. And I was left alone, standing rooted to the spot with jump ropes in my hands. All my classmates were lying face down on the floor, while Rena was pointing the hatchet at the hostage, watching her every move from behind the teacher's desk. I stood frozen in the middle of it all.
圭一君にはまだまだ手伝ってもらうことがたくさんあるの。だから早くして。あんまり時間がかかると何人かが死んでしまうかもしれない。
Some of the little kids started crying when they heard the word die.
大丈夫だよみんな。圭一君がきっと助けてくれるから。だからきっと誰も殺されないよ。
I sure as fuck hope so. Otherwise, shit. Damn it. What a bold threat. She said I was her friend, but she was just playing with the meaning of the word. I was the last person who could still fight against Rena under these circumstances. But it wasn't going to be easy to overpower her by myself. I wasn't sure if I could do that. Even if I tried to act tough, once Rena pointed the hatchet at somebody's neck, it was over. I shouldn't fight against her for now. Good boy. I should just wait for a chance. As long as Rena was alone, there would be a chance. She made me tie them up because she couldn't do that by herself. There was a limit to what she could do because she was by herself. If we could cover this up somehow before Chi-sensei came back, we'd still be able to pretend like we were kidding around. Good luck convincing the whole class of that. I finally realized something. I realized why Rena called Ch.6 to meet with her. In order for Rena to take over the classroom, she needed to get rid of Ch.6. Ch.6 had a very strong sense of justice. Even if Rena had a gun, she wouldn't hesitate to overpower her. She was the kind of teacher who would risk her life for her students. Rena needed to figure out how to get rid of Ch.6. That was the key to her plan. Rena probably thought about attacking her from behind at first, but there was risk there, as Ch.6 was a grown-up woman, so she probably thought that attacking her directly wasn't a wise choice. So naturally, the next option was to lure her out somewhere. Rena called Ch.6 and told her she wanted to talk to her in private, in order to lure her out to someplace far from here. Multiple people, including Ch.6, thought Rena was just running away from home. So Ch.6 must have thought Rena had some problem she wanted to talk to her about. It was too easy to deceive her. Where'd she make the phone call from? She probably used the phone in school. Well, not in school to be exact. She probably used the phone on the second floor of the school. The one belonging to the forestry service. The school is using part of the forestry service building, but this particular location was more of a branch office, so it's not like somebody was here all the time. Rena knew that, and she had probably been hiding there for a while. She called the phone on the first floor from the second floor, and she made Ch.6 leave the school. I didn't think it was a coincidence that the principal was on a business trip today. She probably snuck into the school yesterday. She saw the principal's schedule, learned how to call the phone on the first floor from the second, and carried out her plan. She planned it perfectly. Yeah, I knew it. Rena was insane. But I knew she was also actually really calm. She was possessed by her delusion, but she was also unbelievably calm about it. So, she could still think fast. I knew that very well, because I'd been through the same thing before. What was worse is that Mion's bodyguards were gone. Mion told him to follow Ch.6 because she thought Ch.6 was going to meet Rena. Damn it. Everything seemed to be working out in her favor.
しまったぞ。
I tied up the last person, and I looked in Rena's direction. If I didn't tie them up really tightly, Rena would kill them. But when I tied them too tightly, they suffered in pain. Their pained cries made me feel useless.
ありがとう、ケイチくん。ケイチくんを疑りはしないけど、一応全員を調べるね。ケイチくんは頭の上で手を組んでうつ伏せに寝ててね。これは全員に言うけど、私の断りなく立ち上がったら殺す。本人も殺すし、見せしめでランダムにもう一人殺す。ランダムじゃ良くないね。じゃあこうしよう。言うことを聞かなかった子と出席番号に銃を加えた子を殺すにしようかな。
You really think you're acting like a hero right now, Rena? Good God.
例えば岡村くんが言うことを聞かなかったとする。そうすると出席番号11番渡辺くんが一緒に殺されちゃう。わかる？常に2人死ぬの。歯向かっても自分の命一つじゃ責任が取れないってこと、よーく胸に刻んでおくんだよ。
How awful. She totally understood how to threaten people. Normally you stand against an attacker at your own risk. If you fail, you're going to die. But if you were responsible for someone else, then you couldn't try to resist. You can't risk somebody's life with your own decisions.
全員ちゃんと縛れてるね。
Well, if you still could technically, but you need to be very fucking careful with what you do under those conditions. Because as you just pointed out, it won't be your life that you be gambling anymore by that point, but someone else's as well. So basically, make absolutely fucking sure that whatever counterattack that you've got planned, it hits dead on and takes her down in one shot.
圭一くん、縛るの下手くそって言ってたけど、結構うまいよ。自信持っていいよ。じゃあ、圭一くんは立って。
It was too late to fight back. I followed her orders. I had to wait for a chance. We could still turn this into some kind of bad joke. I had to do something. Anyway, what were you planning to do, Rena? Don't tell me this is the come from behind victory you were talking about. Clearly it is.
Okinomiya TS より全社へ。Okinomiya TS より全社へ。ひなみざわ営林署にて籠城事件発生。人質多数。全社は至急ひなみざわ営林署へ向かわれたし。
クマちゃん、遅れて申し訳ない。状況は？
ご苦労様っす。本日午後1時頃、ひなみざわ営林署内のひなみざわ分校区画にて、当時教室にいた生徒25名全員が拘束されている模様。犯人側の第一要求は、営林署敷地内への一切の立ち入りの禁止と、当方へのホットラインの確保です。
ってことは、初めっから警察と交渉する気ってことですか。どういうつもりだ。
あと犯人は交渉人に大石さんを指名してます。犯人は竜宮玲奈。
竜宮さんが？わかりました。いいですよ。とことんお付き合いさせてもらいましょう。
I wish she gave a crooked smile.
竜宮玲奈以外に犯人がいるか不明です。
Well, she does, an unwilling one.
カーテンが閉められているので、状況も一切確認できていません。
通報者に選挙時の様子は聞いてませんか？
いえ、竜宮玲奈からの直接の犯行声明でした。よって内部の状況は一切不明。担任は犯行直前に竜宮玲奈の電話呼び出しを受け、遠方に呼び出された間の犯行でした。
計画的ですね。営林署側の人間は人質には？
今日は営林署職員は不在でした。よって生徒25名のみ。生徒数は担任が出席簿で確認した人数です。
それプラス犯人ってわけか。竜宮玲奈以外に犯人らしき人影は？
いえ、何度かカーテンから覗く人影がありましたが、いずれも竜宮玲奈本人でした。ですが規模他を考えて、おそらく最低でももう一人二人はいると予想されます。
単独犯かもしれませんよ。
Rena Ryugu was a true believer in Miyotakuno's scrapbooks. According to those scrapbooks, the entire village was Rena Ryugu's enemy. She didn't have anyone she can trust. However, Ushi had also believed in Miyotakuno's delusion. It was possible that someone who was influenced in the same way was following Rena Ryugu.
おいさん、校長と担任です。
ああ、どうもどうも、千恵先生。大丈夫ですか？
Ushi ran up to Ch.6, who was crying with a handkerchief held up to her face.
レナちゃんはとても真面目ないい子なんです。こんなことをするなんて何かの間違いに決まっています。
マニュアル通りなら最近の竜宮さんの状況についてお聞きするところなんですがね。多分竜宮さんに限っては先生より私の方が詳しいように思います。まあ気を落とされずになんとか穏便に解決しますからご安心を。
At least until Fuckboy and his squad shows up. Chi-sensei was huddled over, and Ushi didn't think he could say anything else to her. On the contrary, the principal was staying strong, trying to figure out how to take care of the situation.
大石殿、もしできるなら人質の交換を申し出たい。ぜひ私と子供たちを交換していただきたい。
校長先生、それは私がやります。私が悪いんです。
先生方先生方には校内の状況についていろいろとお聞きしたいことがありますのでご協力をお願いいたします。ボンジ君、図面の方で話を聞いてあげてください。
失礼します。1号車の無線に高杉課長です。
はいはい、もしもし。
大石さん、ご苦労さん。状況の大体は熊谷君に聞いたよ。犯人は未成年だそうだね。マスコミ規制の方を厳重に頼むよ。
分かってます。あと犯人側が私を交渉人に指定してきてるようですが、
竜宮レーナの件は先日の寄生虫の話以外よく知ってる。その流れなら犯人は君のことをまだ味方だと思ってくれているんだと思う。大石君以外には務まらない。くれぐれもよろしく頼むよ。
本当はすっごく嫌なんですがね。ちょっと今回はいろいろとお騒がせした責任を感じてますので、
おいさん、車載電話に犯人です。
早速ご指名の電話が来ました。早速出ることにします。ありがとう。はい、もしもし、大石です。
大石さんですか？どうも、竜宮です。
Yeah, her text is bright freaking red at this point. Well, not bright red, but blood red.
どうもどうも、大石です。
車載電話って電波とかが悪いんですか？たまにちょっと聞こえにくくなりますね。
私と同じでね、定年間近なんですよ、きっと。
Ushi and I exchanged friendly words. A long, long cord trailed through the hallway from the teacher's office. That cord extended further to the phone on the podium in the classroom.
では、本題に入りますね。まず最初に、あなたが交渉人たる資格があるか確認します。
自信ないな。お伺いします。
大石さんは私の味方ですよね。
当然じゃないですか。あなたと私で園崎家の陰謀を暴こうじゃないですか。
Why weren't you this competent in negotiating in the bad end route, though? Ushi answered without hesitation. Was he still my ally? Or was this sly detective just saying what I wanted to hear? Either way, I only had Ushi to depend on. If I couldn't trust him, I was stuck. There would be nothing else I could do.
圭一君も一時期は私が言ってることを信じてくれなかったんだよね。でも今は信じるでしょ？
Keiichi-kun was sitting on the floor facing away from me, with his head resting on his hands.
今はもう私の仲間で味方だもんね。
ああ、そうだ。
Rena Ryugu asked Keiichi Maibara if he was her comrade, but I couldn't hear his voice. Was she trying to tell me that Keiichi Maibara was still alive? Or that he was being forced to obey her because of the hostages?
前原さんも竜宮さんの味方なんですね。 心強いことです。でもあなたも一時期前原さんを少し疑われていたじゃないですか。
うん。モデルガンの事件を聞いて、なんて人だろうって思った。でも過去の事件で今を見損なっちゃいけない。それらを踏み台にして、私たちはより良い理想の自分になれるように成長していかなくちゃならないんだから。
とてもいいことを言いますね。まさにその通りです。
だから私たちは許し合ったの。だから圭一君のことを私はもう疑わない。圭一君は仲間。
わかりました。ならばそれは私にとっても圭一君は仲間ということですね。
The Three Musketeers, all three of us, that's what we are.
圭一君に私がよろしくと言ってると伝えてください。
後で言っておきますね。
圭一君にも新しい仲間としてご挨拶がしたいです。受話器に出てもらうことはできますか？
The conversation stopped suddenly. That made me nervous. Did I say something wrong?
いいよ。
She's probably thinking something.
圭一君、大石さんから電話だよ。
I heard some rattling and rustling on the other side of the phone.
もしもし、前原です。
You sounded monotone. Unable to disobey, Keiichi Maebara must have been pretending to follow Rena Ryugu's orders.
どうも前原さん。沖宮署の大石です。この度はお世話になります。お互い頑張りましょう。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
龍宮さんは今何をしてますか？
教室の中を歩いてますよ。
前原さん、イエスならはい、ノーなら A と相槌を打ってください。あなたは龍宮さんが何を要求しようとしてるか。
ええ。
That answer told me for sure. Keiichi Maebara wasn't Rena Ryugu's accomplice. There's no way Rena wouldn't tell her accomplice what she wanted after playing a hostage situation like this. How would he help someone who wouldn't even tell him what she wanted?
単刀直入にお聞きします。あなたは龍宮レナの味方？いえいえ、質問を変えます。あなたは龍宮レナに脅迫？
はい。
There you go. The other guys in the car listening in on our conversation raised their fists in victory.
犯人は龍宮レナの一人だけ？
はい。
If she was the only suspect, then we could respond appropriately. I guess nobody else believed in Takano's scrapbooks. If so, my being fooled was even more embarrassing. As I thought about my next question, I heard the phone being taken away from Keiichi. Rena came back on the line.
ね、圭一君は味方でしょ？
ねえ、そうでした。とても頼もしいですよ。
で、今度は大石さんが話してくれる番。前の電話で約束した園崎家関係への一斉捜査はどうですか？秘密の研究施設は発見できましたか？
I had to decide on what to say. I can tell her we conducted raids or not. Maybe she already knew we didn't raid. Maybe she was just testing me.
今ですね、県警の暴隊と公安部で一斉捜査作戦を準備中なんです。何しろ市内全域を一斉にやりますからね。調整に多少の時間が。
遅すぎる！大石さん、私たちは今鹿骨市が置かれている緊急的危機についてよく理解し合っているんじゃなかったでしたっけ？何をのんびりとしたことを。大石さん、本当に私の話を信じてくれているんですよね？私の味方なんですよね？
Oh, okay. So that's why he was stumbling over his words a bit. I just didn't see the full thing.
味方ですよね？答えてください。
もちろんですとも。ですが、警察組織ってやつは簡単じゃないんです。私も最大限努力をしてるんですよ。 ただですね、やはり話の規模があまりに大きすぎるもので。
大石さん、私、奴らにどこかで毒を盛られました。富武さんに、あの異常な死に方を強いた、原子の力を持った寄生虫。あれをどこかで盛られたんです。昨日から、痒くて仕方がない。もう私、首をかきむしりすぎて血まみれなんです。いつ錯乱して喉をかき破ってしまうかもわからないというのに、大石さんは何をもたもたと。
I knew it. Ushi didn't realize how dire the situation was. He understood there was some kind of conspiracy in Hinamizawa, but he didn't realize how soon their plan was going to be executed. Besides, I was already feeling itchy all over my body. It was bound to soon die the same way as Toмотaki-san.
申し訳ないです。これでも頑張っているんです。ただですね、みんな言うんですよ。証拠はないのかと。
証拠があればすぐに動いてくれるんですか？
Neosekken scrapbooks. Maybe that's what I'd need to convince the police. I was afraid someone would destroy the evidence if I handed them over to Ushi-san, so I kept them with me. But I didn't have much longer to live. I might not even make it until tomorrow morning. That's right. I might be dead before tomorrow. I would die tonight.
わかりました。
How are you so certain that you're going to die tonight, though, is what I want to know. Or not be alive by tomorrow.
ミオさんのスクラップ帳をお渡しします。それでどうか他の警察の人たちを一刻も早く説得してください。
ああ、助かります。そのスクラップ帳をぜひ。
I looked through my backpack, which was lying by my feet. Neosekken's scrapbooks were in there.
これは私たちの切り札です。大石さん、くれぐれも、いや、絶対によろしくお願いします。
わかりました。信頼してください。必ずや奴らの陰謀を暴いてみせます。
でも、まあ多分警察も組織だからそうなんだろうなとは思ってたんです。だからちょっと強引なやり方だけど、こんな形を取らせてもらったんです。大石さんは私に要求されて仕方なくやっているという言い訳ができるはず。なんとかこのチャンスを有効に生かしてください。
ありがとうございます。必ずやあなたの。ではどうしましょう。私が受け取りに参りましょうか。
I knew she wouldn't let me into the classroom. She was still cautious. I could guess where Rena Ryuga was going to take this thing, so I tried to stay ahead of her. I handed a memo with my instructions on it to a colleague.
さすがに私がこの場を離れるわけにはいかないので、代わりに圭一君に持って行かせます。
その方がいいかもしれません。やはりあなたが学校の外へ出れば、もしやということもあるかもしれませんので。
もしやって？
いえ、この騒ぎをもう園崎家も嗅ぎつけているでしょう。あなたがこういう手に打って出るとは思わなかったでしょうから、強引な手で口封じをしてくる可能性があります。
Be careful what you say here. You might agitate her.
口封じ
？Something fierce.
それって。
狙撃です。園崎家のヒットマンは多分あなたがこれ以上騒ぎを大きくする前に。だからあなたは表に出ない方がいい。窓にも近づかないでください。さっきから何度か顔を出しているようですが、あれは危ない。そこを撃たれてしまいますよ。
ちょっと、周りには警察がいるんでしょ？そんなの未然に防げないんですか？
防げるなら防ぎます。ですがね、周りの視界が良すぎます。訓練を受けたものなら400メートルくらいはやすやすと狙撃するそうです。ましてや、あなたもご存知の通り、園崎家の特攻隊は軍事訓練を受け、中でも暗殺技術に関しては特に習得しています。奴らは侮らないでください。 園崎家の陰謀を暴くにはあなたの力がまだまだ必要なんです。
わかりました。忠告をありがとうございます。どうせ明日まで持たない命でも今終わらせるわけにはいきませんので。
そうですともそうですとも。いいですか、くれぐれも窓から顔を覗かせないでくださいよ。用心してください。
The phone conversation ended. Rena Ryuga was going to let Keiichi Maibara deliver the scrapbooks.
さっき書いたやつ用意できてますね。
OK です。うまく渡せますかね。
狙撃されるかもしれないと脅して外を覗かせないようにしたつもりです。でもまあ見てるでしょうね。そこはうまくやります。
I roughly understood what was going on from the phone conversation.
じゃあ圭一くん、これとても大切なスクラップ帳。園崎家の陰謀と奴らの侵略の証拠を暴く証拠。大石さんに渡してきてね。渡したらすぐに戻ってくるんだよ。見てるからね。変なことをしたら怒るからね。
Rena took out a couple of old scrapbooks from her backpack and gave them to me. Then she cast a sidelong glance at Mion.
みーちゃんにも後で話すよ。みーちゃんの家がどれほど恐ろしい陰謀を企んでいるかをね。ひょっとするともう知ってるのかもしれないけどね。じゃあ圭一くん、行ってきて。校庭の真ん中まででいいよ。余計な立ち話とかしちゃダメ。圭一くんは持っていくだけだから無言でいいや。おしゃべり禁止だからね。おしゃべりしたら千恵先生なら T 定規で叩くけど、私ならなんで叩いちゃおうかな。
Preferably something that's not being held in your hands right this minute?
わかってるよ。無言で持っていくからそのナタを下ろせ。俺はレナの仲間だろ。仲間だったら信用しろな。
そうだね。仲間だから信用するよ。
That's a blatant lie and you know it.
だから裏切らないでね。
I'd argue that you betrayed him first, along with everybody else in this classroom. Rena's eyes were telling me clearly. They were telling me she didn't trust me. But even in this state, she also knew that she shouldn't distrust her friends. Therefore, although she couldn't trust me, she was pretending to. That was why she didn't tie me up.
じゃあ行ってくる。すぐ戻るよ。
よろしくね。
I walked past my friends, who were lying on the floor, and head to the exit. I saw some of their faces as I passed. For a second I thought it said pissed. Some were fearful. Some were sure that I'd use the opportunity to run. And some were scared that they'd die if I did. Don't worry, guys. I won't let her even touch any of you. If Rena tries to do something, I'll stop her even if I have to risk my own life. Anyway, I'd do whatever it took to ensure that nobody died. I had to make sure Rena didn't get angry. I'd just wait for the right moment. I went down to the school entrance and changed my shoes, then unlocked the door and stepped outside. I felt the fresh air on my skin. I saw the lights from the police cars. I could feel all the policemen looking at me. As soon as I was in the scrapyard, a little voice tried to tempt me. I was free from Rena now. If I ran off the school grounds, I'd be free. What was I thinking? If I did something like that, Rena would go crazy, and who knows what else she'd do. The important thing here wasn't my safety. It was to make sure that Rena didn't kill anyone. I saw a big man coming towards me from the school gate. That was probably Ushi-san.
前原圭一さんですね。どうもどうも。沖宮市の大石です。クラちゃんと呼んでくださっても。
すみません。レナから何も喋らずにこれを渡せって言われてます。だから無言でこれを受け取ってください。
わかりました。それが問題のスクラップ帳ですね。お預かりします。
I tried to hand the scrapbooks to Ushi-san, but he stepped aside a little. Huh? Confused as to what he was doing, I changed my position and handed them to him again. He took them that time. Did you plant a bug on him? And at that point, Ushi put something that was under his jacket into my pocket.
大丈夫です。校舎はあなたの背中ですから、竜宮さんが窓から見てたとしても、今のやりとりは見えていません。
何なんですかこれは。
I couldn't look into my pocket because I didn't want Rena to suspect anything. But whatever it was pretty heavy for its size. You didn't give him a gun, did you?
あなたへのメモもあります。教室へ戻る途中で竜宮さんに見つからないようにこっそり読んでください。では、そのまま戻って。これ以上は不審がられます。
I just followed his directions. I was worried Rena had begun to suspect something. When I looked at the classroom, the curtains were closed. But that didn't mean she wasn't peeking out through a crack. I went back to the entrance and locked the door. If Rena checked and found the door unlocked, it would cause more trouble. Rena was in the classroom. There was no way she'd come down this way. She was alone. If she left the classroom, everyone would get up and run. They couldn't run because Rena was there, but they were all waiting for their chance. The entrance, then, was Rena's blind spot. As I changed my shoes, I quickly removed what Ushi-san put into my pocket. There was a radio with an earpiece? Okay, so it is just... Well, it wasn't exactly a bug, but I mean, hey, it's something that he can use to listen in all the same. And something else that looked like a short police baton. There was also a folded piece of paper. I opened the piece of paper and saw a note written in small print. Dear my Barakun, please hide the bug in your pocket. It picks up even a low voice, so you can use it to get in touch with me. By using the earphone, you can hear me in return. There's also a spray for self-protection. It sprays as far as 1 meter. Make sure you aim for the face. This must be the spray. I guess it's safe to try it here. I held down the button and gas sprayed out from the nozzle. Compared to Rena's hatchet, this required some caution, but it was small enough to fit inside my hand. It was reassuring that I could hide it so easily. In other words, it was now possible for me to stop Rena. As I realized all my classmates' fates rested on my shoulders, I felt sweat form on my face. The memo continued. The spray is just for self-defense purposes. Pepper spray only impairs eyesight. While it makes your enemy powerless due to extreme pain and coughing for at least 30 minutes, it's not powerful enough to render them unconscious. Therefore, please don't forget there is a possibility that your enemy may fight back desperately in panic. This spray is your last resort. Please don't depend on it, but if you need to, make sure to use it. Ushi. Was he telling me to use it or not? I think yes. It's probably one of those grown-up issues. If the cops entrusted me solely with the fate of the hostages, and I failed, they'd be held liable. So while he gave me a weapon, he made me consider its use. I hid the bug and the spray in my pockets and went back to the classroom. I felt a little dizzy, maybe because I was nervous. I was simply following Rena's orders because I had no other choice. That's why I wasn't scared. But things were different from before. I had a weapon. I was in a far better position, but my heart was pounding. Humans are so strange. Shit. What am I going to do? What should I do, Keiichi Maibara? Did I want to fight with Rena? The memo said the spray only reaches as far as 1 meter. 1 meter? That was basically a hand-to-hand battle. That meant I only had one opportunity. I didn't have a second chance. The memo also said I need to aim for her face. That wasn't going to be easy. Shit! Besides, Rena was cautious. How could I stand directly in front of her within 1 meter? But that's what I'd have to do if I was going to have any chance of winning. Rena would do anything to reach her goal. She wouldn't even hesitate to kill. Just like how I didn't. Of course, things are already extremely serious. An apology definitely wouldn't be enough. But at least there hadn't been any casualties. The more time passed, the more irritated Rena would get. She might demand something again, and she might kill someone that time to show how serious she was. Bad things had already taken place, but a tragedy hadn't occurred yet. But it was almost here. It wasn't very far at all. When I closed my eyes, I could easily picture Rena killing one classmate after another. After I killed Rena and Mion, my room was covered in blood. If she killed 20 people, the classroom would be a pool of it. If that happened, Rena would... She still wouldn't realize she was being delusional. She would rip out her own throat and die. That'd be too big a cross for her to carry. And one day she would remember. And be saddened. She didn't need to go through that. I didn't want Rain to go through what I had to go through. Shit. I felt dizzy. This was a very long hallway. I didn't know the classroom was so far. With each step I took, my determination to fight Rena became stronger. Rena would be shocked to realize I betrayed her. She betrayed you first, bro. But she couldn't wake up from the nightmare on her own. Someone else would have to wake her up. And her friends need to be the ones to do that.
おかえり、ケイチ君。大石さん、何か言ってた？
なんだ？
Gasoline. As soon as I stepped into the classroom, I smelled something. Everyone had moved to one corner of the classroom. The smell reminded me of a gas station. Was it gasoline? I saw a red gasoline container by Rena's feet. The cap was open. It was seemingly sturdy and made of metal. It said gasoline on the side, written in felt marker. She must have spread it across the entire classroom. The smell was almost giving me a headache. No, it wasn't just a classroom. The classmates were soaked in gasoline too. How could she? I see. This was just like a hijacker holding a bomb. If the police were to rush in, she would burn the hostages. I didn't know where she got it, but she had a lighter in her left hand.
レナ、これはどういう真似だよ。
もちろんやらないよ。万が一の時の保険なの。私だって大好きなみんなのバーベキューなんて見たく、だから冗談で済んでほしいって思ってる。
Rena showed off the lighter. Obviously, she was trying to threaten me. I've heard about people committing suicide by setting themselves on fire. They pour gasoline on themselves and light it ablaze. You might think that if it was extinguished right away, it wouldn't be that bad. But human skin is supposedly very delicate, and they say that even if 30% of a person's skin gets burned, it's enough to be fatal. If it was your entire body, it would result in death for sure. I have been put in a disadvantageous position. My weapon might take Rena's sight, but I couldn't stop her from using the lighter. She'd probably use it the moment she's attacked. I didn't know if she realized it, but the kind of lighter she had would keep burning until the lid was closed. Therefore, all she had to do was light it and drop it onto the floor. In other words, my spray can wouldn't make Rena powerless at all. The last resort Ushi-san gave me had already lost all its power.
保険なんて大丈夫だろ。大石さんはスクラップ帳があればきっと警察を納得させられる。そうなればあとは一斉捜査で奴らの陰謀が暴ける。そうなんだろ。
あのスクラップ帳だけで本当に動いてくれるかな。お役所ってのはお尻の重いところだそうだからね。
Rena was thinking that if she didn't see any progress in the scrapbooks, she'd pressure the police by letting them know about the gasoline.
とりあえずは大石さんを信じよう。あとは家宝を待つだけだろ。
そうだね。じゃあさっきの話の続きをするかな。それでね、その寄生虫は長い時間を経るうちに徐々にでもそれでは面白くない人たちがいた。それがひなみ沢御三家なの。だから彼らは。
Rena was simply telling everyone what she heard from Takano-san. I started mumbling so I could let Ushi-san know what was going on.
すごい匂いだよな。ガソリンをポリタンク丸々ぶちまけるとすごいもんだ。
I was pretending to mumble to myself, so I could only say it very quietly. I wish I could say it louder, but it was probably impossible. I wasn't sure if Ushi-san could hear me. I thought an idea whether or not they could hear me.
車のクラクション聞きたいな。
クマちゃん、クラクション一発。
Okay, he can hear us. Kumagai honked once quickly.
ガソリンとは参ったっすね。これでさっきからなんとなく感じてた匂いの正体が分かりました。多分この後の要求を押し通すための切り札にするつもりでしょうね。
クマちゃん、普通の若い子がポリタンクって言い方をしたら18リットル入りのあれですよね。
さあ、多分。
小宮山君、営林署の人まだ返してないですよね。ちょっと呼んでもらえます？なるほどね。携行缶にはちゃんとガソリンと明記してあると、灯油のポリタンクにも灯油とちゃんと書いてある？
はい。中身を間違えたら大変ですから、すべての燃料容器にはちゃんと明記してあります。
Not too many people know this, but regular portable tanks can't hold gasoline. Gasoline, while common, is extremely flammable, and it can be lit even with static electricity. Therefore, gasoline must be kept in special metal containers. Those are called carrying cans.
じゃあ前原さんがガソリンって言ったのは間違いなくガソリンなわけだ。携行缶は何リットルのサイズのがあったんですか
？18リットル用と5リットル用の2種類があったと記憶してます。
5リットル用って多分平たい形をしたやつですよね。
ええ、真っ赤で平たくてこう取っ手がついています。
前原圭一はポリタンクという言い方をしましたね。18リットルの方でしょうか。
あるいは見慣れない形だったんで、とりあえず適当な言葉が思いつかずポリタンクという言い方をしたのかもしれない。でもどのみち本当にガソリンだとしたらかなり危険なことになります。
Gasoline burns when lit. But what's an even bigger threat than liquid gasoline are the fumes. When gasoline fumes are lit on fire, they explode. Also, gasoline evaporates easily. Even at freezing temperatures, it evaporates. And so, in other words, inside a closed classroom, the fumes would fill the entire space. The classroom would then become a bomb itself.
クマちゃん、危険物第4類とかわかる？
いえ、気化ガソリンが危険だってことは理解してるんですが、詳しいことまでは。
Guess that really does explain then why immediately upon shooting the whole thing exploded.
18リットルと5リットルで最悪の場合どの程度規模が違うか調べときたいな。そうだ、ジジイに聞いてみよう。すいません、署に連絡して鑑識のじい様がいるか聞いてみてください。
おお、話は聞いちょるぞい。犯人に直接名指しだそうじゃの。リーチ一発振り込みドカーンってところじゃの。
This isn't a joking matter, man.
裏まで乗っちゃって大変なことになってます。そのドカンってのは実に笑えないですな。ところですいません、危険物の第4種はお持ちで？
おつよんか？ここにいる人間全員足せば公主じゃぞい。どうした？ガソリンでも巻いて籠城しとるんか？
As a matter of fact, yes.
まさにそのようです。人質の一人に盗聴器を持たせてるんですが、どうも犯人は教室内にガソリンをまいたようなんです。ただ、まいた量が18リットル缶か5リットル缶かはわかりません。両方のケースのですね、最悪の場合について教えてもらえませんかね。教室の広さは？
だいたい50平米ですね。
室内は密閉か？
おそらくさぞやガソリン臭いだろうと思います。
おいし、まずいぜ。
My guess then is it's the 18 liter one.
やっぱりシャレんな。
教室は粉々に吹っ飛ぶぜ。教室内はまず全員死ぬな。
そりゃ18リットルの場合ですか？
アホ、5リットルの場合じゃ。わしの記憶がボケてないなら、1.8 メートルの室内を吹き飛ばすのに4リットルもあれば十分だったはずじゃ。
Then how big would it? Well, it would have to be the 18 liter one. Otherwise, how else would the entire damn building would have blown up like it did in the bad end? The policeman listening to their conversation went on the side went pale. 8 by 8 meters meant a room that was 64 square meters. Only 4 liters are needed to blow that up, and at least 5 liters were scattered in a 50 square meter room.
つまりお釣りが来るってことですね。嫌なリーチだな。じゃあ聞きたくはないんですが、18リットルだったら？
そうだのう。大石風に例えると、親のリーチ一発ピンフ単葉赤々ドラドラに振り込む感じかの。
どういう意味っすか？
親の倍満24000点。配給減点が25000点だから1000。
そんなところだのう。柱一
そりゃあ振り込みたくないリーチだな。ね。
今のうちに消防署に連絡して化学車両を待機させた方がいいだろうの。事件解決後の処理は消防の指示を仰ぐ必要があるぞい。
Yeah, no shit.
参ったな。こいつは盗聴情報なんで消防車を呼び寄せたらバレちまうな。なんとか学校から見えないところに待機させましょう。
それがいいの。あとそれから多いし。
ねえ、さっき人質の一人と接触できましてね。その際にこっそりと盗聴器を持たせました。ガソリン散布はそれで分かったんですよ。
まずいの。化学火災の事例で発火原因に電子機器のランプの点灯があったはずだぞい。
Oh, fuck. That means the very radio that we're using here could possibly set the whole damn thing ablaze.
ガソリンの発火点は300度程度。火花はおろか、静電気でも着火して爆発する。
冗談じゃない。なんだってそんな危険な液体がこうも簡単に世の中にあるんですかね。
Because we use it to power our cars.
知るか。消防法と自動車社会を作った連中に言え。6月だからの。そう空気も乾燥しとらんとは思うが、とにかく万が一に備えて盗聴器の電源を切らせ。
大石さん、盗聴器で聞く限り犯人はライターを所持している模様です。
ってことは、つまり前原さんがスプレーを使って静止しようとしても着火までは防げない可能性が大ってわけだ。しかも盗聴器まで使えなくなるとは、なんてこった。
大石、ライターはまずいぞ。冗談でもいじらせてはならん。犯人もガソリンの危険性を認知しとらん可能性がある。両を聞く限りとても知識があるとは思えんぞ。
Or worse yet, she does know about it. Wushi's back was covered with a cold sweat. He never even thought this would turn into such a serious matter. He didn't know how dangerous gasoline was. He didn't know because he never heard of cars exploding in car accidents. He knew it was dangerous, but he didn't know what it was capable of. Gasoline is more dangerous once it evaporates. Therefore, a burning car in an accident and gasoline fumes being ignited are at completely different levels. It's quite simple to understand if you think about how car engines work. Cars vaporize gasoline in the carburetor and let it explode in the engine cylinders. In other words, that little explosion in the engine is what gives cars the power to move. You learn something new every day. Therefore, if you want more power, an engine needs to be bigger to create a bigger explosion. So if an engine cylinder was the size of a classroom, how much power would it create? Enough. Anyone with knowledge of engines would know, but a lot of people don't consider how dangerous evaporated gasoline is. Because it's too familiar. 25 hostages in one hostage tanker. All 26 people were basically stuck in a huge bomb. Furthermore, the suspect might accidentally set it off. If she were to pretend to light the lighter as a threat, that would be the end. All the people around Ushi had gone pale. The classroom might explode at any moment. How could they save all the hostages? Especially when the criminal was living in her own delusion, and her requests were something so unreal.
失礼します。先ほど受け取ったスクラップ帳の中に犯人からと思われる文書が見つかりました。
One of the policemen brought over a folded piece of paper. Wushi opened it while the others watched. He saw a girlish handwriting on the paper. He could tell this was written before she invaded the school. Dear Ushi-sama, if you are reading this letter, that means I'm at the final stage. I must have seized the school and held the students as hostages. I'm planning to appoint you as a negotiator, so please pretend to be threatened by me and become my contact with the outside. The first thing I want to tell you is that my enemy is the Sonozaki family, and also the aliens, who are pretending to be parasites, that control the Sonozaki family.
宇宙人?
I can only just picture the poor guy's face right now. I didn't think you'd believe me if I brought up the aliens, so I didn't tell you about them until now. But when you read these scrapbooks, you will understand. The aliens came to Earth in the UFOs in ancient times. Yes, and they helped the Egyptians build the pyramids, right? They landed in Onikafuchi's swamp. They used this village as their breeding grounds, and through that selective breeding, they widened their domain. They were successful, and now they're trying to invade the Earth.
なんだこりゃ。
All the other policemen frowned at the letter.
いやいや、驚きませんよ。高野の他のスクラップ帳も読みましたが、個人的にはオッシーが面白かったな。
The Sonozaki family, as well as the village authorities, have been brainwashed by the aliens. The villagers' attempts to revive the cult of Orishiro-sama were actually part of the aliens' strategy to invade the Earth. The aliens are very clever. They don't let people realize they're being controlled. The Irie Clinic must be their secret research center. Please conduct an investigation and expose their secret. Also, please check out the bottom of the swamp. The UFO must still be there. Also, capture all the relatives of the three families and take x-rays of their brains. You'll find hideous parasites inside of them. But please be careful. The aliens eliminate whoever finds out about them by replacing their host with a look-alike. That's how they've been controlling the village. Therefore, there may be already some aliens among the villagers. It is possible that they will try to interfere with your investigation. As a matter of fact, there have been lookalikes of Mio Takano, Rika Furude, and me, Ren Ryugu. If you see any of those three, capture them immediately. That'll be the proof of aliens existing among us.
高野美代? どうしてでしょうね。
ああ、あれだ。俺さ、彼女との電話で、隣のケンケンさんの検視で、一日ズレがあったかもしれないですよって言っちゃったことがあったんですよ。
ああ、検視結果のミスの話ですか。
Jury is still out on whether or not that's a mistake.
それで私、祭りの日には死んでたはずなのにどうしていたのかななんてことを言っちゃったんです。それをこういう風に解釈するとはな。ふざけ半分で脅しすぎたかな。
自分の名前が含まれてるのも奇妙ですね。鏡に映ったのでも見間違えたとか。
One of the policemen spoke up. He was one of the pair who searched the garbage dump that night.
これは俺。ほら、竜宮レナを探し回った晩、小倉で目撃されたって話があったでしょ。あれだよ。あれは多分、村人の誰かが流したデマなんだよ。で、それを本人がどこかで聞いて、自分がもう一人いるように錯覚した。
くさったり、ノストラダムスだっけ？あれの大予言と同じですね。何が起こっても予言に含まれるように解釈しちまう。今の竜宮レナは箸が転んだって宇宙人の仕業だって言い出すぞ。
あるいはいずれ捕まることを予見して精神鑑定で有利になる資料を先に用意したとか。
Well, honestly, it would be a pretty good insanity defense to be fair.
そんなことあの子は考えてないよ。
Plus, it kind of helps that if one is actually discovered in her system somewhere, that she has an actual bug in her system that's causing her brain to go haywire. So, if that isn't good for an insanity defense, I don't know what is.
あの子は本気で信じてる。いや、本気の本気で。コロッと生かされた私だからわかるんです。彼女は本気で信じてるんだ。 このインチキスクラップ帳。
あ、まだ1枚あるっすよ。
Oh boy, there's more!
何々
P.S. I was poisoned yesterday with the same stuff that killed Tomitaki-san. I've been scratching my throat since then. I'll probably have clawed my throat open by tomorrow. If you can find the antidote when you investigate the Irie clinic, please bring it to me.
これは使えるな。
ですね。本気で宇宙人の話を真に受けてるなら、解毒剤だと言えばうまく騙せるかも。
But you may not find the antidote, or maybe it'll be too late by the time you do. Therefore, considering the time I have left, I will set 7 p.m. tonight as the deadline. If an investigation doesn't take place, and the antidote doesn't arrive by 7 p.m., I will choose to die with all the hostages by lighting the gasoline instead. Oh, shit.
19時？今何時だ？
18時前です。
Days are long nowadays. It doesn't get dark even in the evenings. It'll probably start to get dark around 7 p.m.
あと1時間か。
Yeah, that's not a lot of time.
いや、1時間を待たずに火遊びで大爆発するかも。くそ、どうすりゃいい？
何が地球侵略と戦うだ。それに人質を巻き込むなんてめちゃくちゃだ。
めちゃくちゃなんです。今の彼女にはまともな交渉なんか通用しない。しかも本人は冷静だと思ってる分だけ立ちが悪い。
おいさん、それより次の文章。
Oh boy, even more?
何？
I'm planning to spread gasoline throughout the classroom. I'm sure you realize how dangerous that is. If anyone suggests storming into the room, please tell them exactly how bad an idea that would be. Also, the hostages are anchored down with U-shaped bike locks. Even if those alien policemen rushed in and killed me, they'd have to cut each lock. But if you tried cutting them, you might create sparks. Therefore, you need to completely ventilate the room first. She knows full well how dangerous evaporated gasoline is. So, it was just like I feared. She knows exactly how lethal it is. In other words, it will take an extremely long time to rescue all the hostages from the classroom. Actually, I have a different explosive system set up, other than the gasoline I spread. Oh god, what now? It's a very simple time bomb using gasoline and a kitchen timer. The kitchen timer provides electricity at a set time. I ripped the tip off its plug, so it'll create enough sparks to ignite the gasoline. Shit. I already set the timer to 7 p.m. Even if I'm not around, there will be an explosion at that time. If the classroom isn't ventilated by that time, it'll explode too. I'm sorry to ask you like this, Uji-san, but please help me so we can avoid a tragedy. Please let the three families know that Mion Sonozaki, the successor of the head of the Sonozaki family, and Rika Farud, a mascot for the cultivar Shirosama, are in this classroom. If anyone from the three families helps you, I'm sure their conspiracy will be exposed by tonight. The alien invasion is going to happen very soon. Please get going quickly. To my ally, Ushi-san. Rena Ryugu. Smash! Ushi threw the scrapbooks to the ground.
くそったり！何が味方だ！
キッチンタイマーって目覚まし時計みたいなもんですか？
ああ、昔の炊飯器とかにはタイマーがついてないものも多かったんですよ。それでね、コンセント穴のついたキッチンタイマーって名前の目覚まし時計がありましてね。そのコンセントに炊飯器を挿しておけば、仕掛けた時刻に自動的に電源が供給されて、指定時刻に炊飯器が電源オンにできるって代物です。
へえ、そりゃ便利そうですね。
確かにそれを流用すれば次元発火装置なんて簡単にでっち上げられる。キッチンタイマーってあたりが女の子っぽくてなんだか複雑だな。
電力会社に頼んで電力を落とすとかはどうすかね。コード式なら電力がなければ無力化できます。
There's still the issue of the lighter, though. As Rena just stated in that lovely little letter of hers, she clearly knows how dangerous evaporated gasoline is. So, even if you take away the kitchen timer as a lighting method, she still has the lighter.
ああ、でもダメか。教室が真っ暗になるのと同時にライターをつけるに決まってますよね。
やっぱり解毒剤の線をついて指向性の睡眠薬でも与えますか。指向性ですよ。
Give her 2 pills.
多分自身に使う前に人質に試すはずです。注意してください。
了解です。手配します。
あと前原さんともう一度話したいな。竜宮レナが間違ってライターをいじらないようにうまく。あと盗聴器もオフにさせないといけません。盗聴器はどう？
Don't forget to also mention the kitchen timer.
面白いことは拾いましたか？
犯人が人質に危害を加えている模様です。
なんてこった。
どうも園崎ミオンに対してのようです。
Oh God, what is she doing to her?
やめろレナ。
Rena kept hitting Mion, who had her hands tied behind her back. Rena wasn't using her fists, but instead the handle of her hatchet.
圭一君はそこの壁から動かない約束だよ。動いたらレナも怒るんだからね。
Rena's gaze intimidated me. Her eyes were full of madness. I could feel Rena's emotions boiling over on the inside. If I opposed her, she would easily cut Mion's arm off.
とにかく私が許せなかったことはみーちゃんが死体を掘り出して警察に売ったことだよ。信じてたのに。
Rena hit Mion's face over and over. It wasn't just Mion's hands that were tied behind her. Her neck was also tied to a window frame with a bike lock, so there was no way that Mion could protect her face. I didn't know if her forehead was cut or if her nose was bleeding, but her face was covered in blood. Her blood got on the handle of the hatchet, and every time she got hit with it, more blood was smeared on her face. The handle of the hatchet could easily smash her forehead. Because of her position in the Sonzaki family, Mion couldn't say that she hid the bodies, so all she could do was endure. However, Rena continued to attack her. Rena no longer had any restraint. She might even continue until Mion's front teeth were broken.
やめるんだレナ。ミオン、もういいだろ。俺が話す。本当のことを話すから。レナ、ミオンを殴るのをやめるんだ。
本当のことって何？
What truth do you have in mind, Keiichi? Just out of interest?
圭一君。
ダメだよケイちゃん。
クラスのみんな、今から言う話は頼む。聞かない。少し物騒な話をするかもしれないが、悪いことの話じゃないんだ。だから聞かないでくれ。耳に入っても忘れてくれ。頼む。
どういう話だろう。聞かせてくれるかな。
難しい話じゃないんだ。あれはお前のためだったんだよ。あの埋めた場所が今年の夏に営林署が伐採で立ち入ることになってたのを後日に知ったんだ。だからあのままじゃまずいと思ってミオンがもっと別の安全な場所に隠してくれたんだよ。
その話はあの晩に聞いてるよ。そしてそんなのはみーちゃんの作った嘘だとも言わなかったっけ。
なんで嘘なんかつかなきゃならないんだ。仲間を助けるのは当然じゃないか。だから ミオンがお前を助けるためにやってくれたんだよ。
嘘だよ。嘘だよ、信じないよ。ならなんでそんなことを私に相談せずにこっそりとやったの？
We didn't want you to worry? Why did Mion even have to tell her? Mion was trying to be delicate. Mion did her best trying to hide what Rena did. Mion knew Rena was at her wit's end, and that was why she did it in secret. But Rena didn't want to believe her.
違うよ、ケイチ君。ケイチ君まで騙すなんて。本当にみーちゃんは卑劣だね。部活で騙すのは許せるけど、仲間であるケイチ君を騙すなんて許せない。許せない。許せない。許せない。
やめろ！ミオンを殴るな！ミオンは悪くない！
I never knew having your hands tied behind your back was that scary. Mion got hit repeatedly with the handle of the hatchet. She could only endure. She couldn't even protect herself with her hands. I'm hoping that that hatchet of hers doesn't scrape against something that will cause sparks to appear.
ねえ、そうなのみーちゃん。そうならなんでそうだって私に話してくれなかったの？
ミオンに話せない理由は想像つくだろう。その崎家のいろいろ都合があるんだよ。それより気を使ってくれたことをお前が感謝すべきじゃないか。
I may have said it too aggressively. Rena turned her around and glared at me.
そうだよ、ケイチ君。その崎家の都合でみーちゃんは私を警察に売った。仲間の私を売った。仲間なのに、友達なのに、仲良しだったのに。
She didn't sell you out, Rena. You sold her out.
ひどいよ、みーちゃん。本当に大好きな一番のお友達だったのに、どうして？ひどいよ。
This was senseless. Rena cried as if being bullied, but she was the one doing the bullying. Normally, this would be so odd as to be impossible. Thank God you don't live in current year then. Be grateful that you don't, I mean. But I had seen this scene before. I liked you. I trusted you. As I cried, I beat her to death. Rena repeatedly begged me to trust her, yet I beat her. I know what it's like to be the one doing the beating. Stop! 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 Stop, Rena! Don't you realize what you're doing? You're hurting your friend with your own hands. I understand what you're feeling. I know you're sad because your friend betrayed you, right? But that's a misunderstanding. We didn't betray you. We've been thinking about you all this time. But she just couldn't see that. Even if she died, Rena probably wouldn't realize she'd made a terrible mistake. But someday he'll realize. Even an insensitive guy like me realized. So Rena would realize it for sure. And that's when you'll feel even sadder, Rena. You will remember this bloody Mion one day. Then you'll realize that you were the one who made her bloody, and you will regret what you did. But I was the only one who could understand that, because I remembered. There was no way for Rena to understand or realize that. I wondered if I was suffering the most of all. There was no way to avoid a tragedy. This was exactly the same tragedy, with different actors. The main character was Rena instead of me. But it was the same thing! Where was I? I was in the audience now. I knew how the story ended, but I couldn't come onto the stage.
やめろレナやめてくれやめてくれ
泣いてるの？どうしたの圭一くん。
You! I stood up slowly and walked towards Rena. Just like what Rena did for me before, with my arms open.
頼むからやめてくれやめるんだレナ今はどうしてかわからないかもしれないなぜやめなければならないのかわからないのかもしれないでもやめないと絶対に後悔する日が来るからだからやめるんだ
圭一くん、壁に戻らないとレナは怒るよ。
Listen to her, you dense him, you dense motherfucker! Rena's eyes went cold, and she lifted the hatchet in her right hand.
やめな、ケイちゃん。私は大丈夫だから。
Mion told me, but with such a bloody face, how could she be?
レナはその名で俺を叩くのか
それ以上近づけばね。叩くよ。遠慮なくね。もう圭一くんなんかいなくても最後までいけるんだよ。
Well, straight up admission from you then. He was nothing more than a pawn to you all this time. And you criticize Mion for betraying your trust.
でも私は圭一くんと最後まで一緒にいたい。だから私を怒らせないで。ね。
She sounded gentle, but her expression was telling me there really would be no hesitation. Rena would crack my head open with the hatchet immediately. But who cares?
レナはもし立場が逆だったら命を惜しむと思うか
当然だよ。相手が凶器を持ってたら怖いから逆らわないね。
嘘だな。
I know. I know you're strong enough to give up your own life for the sake of your friend. It's my turn now. My turn to be strong.
俺もレナと同じだぜ。仲間のためなら命なんて惜しくない。レナが欲しいってなら俺の命だってくれてやる。だからやめるんだ。仲間を信じてるなら仲間を傷つけるのをやめるんだ。その痛みは必ずレナを襲うからだからやめるんだ。誰もレナを脅かしたりなんかしてない。みんながレナのためを思ってる。それを疑うな。頼むから信じてくれ。俺を信じろ。俺の頭を砕けば信じられるってんならそのナタを撃ち下ろせばいい。俺は防がねえからな。
近寄るな。それ以上近づけばライターを点火するよ。
Rena lifted the lighter overhead.
バカ野郎！てめえいつまで夢を見てんだ。自分でも分かってんだろ。悪い夢だって。誰かに覚ましてほしいって。だから俺が来た。俺が覚ましに来たんだ。
覚ますのは圭一くんの方だよ。この村が奴らに侵略されていることがまだ信じられないの？あの時はちゃんと信じてくれたのにまた疑うの？
I really wish I had some kind of solid strategy that I could suggest here on what he could do. Even though it'd be useless for me to suggest it anyway, but holy shit. I guess I really have no choice here but to hope that he can get through to her.
また私を信じないの？
And you are the last person who should be criticizing anybody about doubting about. You have no right to criticize Keiichi for doubting you. You hypocrite. You may not be well in the head right now, but that doesn't stop you from being a massive fucking hypocrite right now. Rena opened the lid of the lighter. I could tell her thumb was about to light it. Rena was prepared to die, along with everyone else. Rena would die without knowing the truth. She would die believing it was the world that was crazy. She would die cursing everything in this world. That was the storyline of this tragedy, wasn't it? This was a theater from hell. What an interesting script. Who wrote it? A devil? Shit! I won't let this happen. Don't underestimate Keiichi Maebara, the original main character. Don't think the same storyline will work again. I'll be taking over the script this time, and I'm going to destroy it. I won't let this bad ending take place. I'm going to destroy their expectations.
信じてねえのはレナの方だろうが。今は俺を信じろ。黙って俺を信じやがれ。それは絶対にレナのためになる。前回の惨劇の主人公がそうだと言ってるんだよ。先代主人公の言うことをおとなしく聞きやがれ。
何を言ってるのかさっぱりだよ、圭一君。黙って俺を信じろ。信じてないのは圭一君の方だよ。どうして私を信じてくれないの？
やかましい！俺はお前が間違ってることを知ってるんだよ。お前の末路を知っていて、お前がする未来の後悔を全部知ってるんだよ。仲間を自らの手で殺し、それがどれほど罪深いことかに気づきもせずに生を終える。それがどんなに悲しいことか、お前には分からないんだよ。
全然何を言ってるのかわからない。大丈夫なの、圭一君。
Well, we all know you aren't.
ああ、そうだな。何を言ってるかレナには分からないだろうな。でも話してやる。ある大バカ野郎の話を聞かせてやる。あるところに前原圭一っていう大バカがいたんだ。そいつはみんなと楽しく過ごす気に何の不満もなかったのに、ある日を境にほんの少し仲間を疑っちまうんだ。そして何もかもが疑わしく感じるようになってきて。
He didn't notice how worried his friends were, and he hurt them repeatedly. How sorrowful. They trusted each other, but they couldn't let each other know. Can you believe something as stupid as that actually happened?
そして俺はお前とミオンを、なのにお前は最後の瞬間まで私を信じてって言って俺に殴り殺される最後の瞬間まで頭をかばわなかった。かばおうとしなかった。最後まで俺を信じて両手を差し出したままだったんだ。それがどれだけすげえことか俺は気づきもせず、お前それがどれだけ罪深いことかお前には想像なんかつかないだろうな。だから俺は俺の罪を滅ぼすためにレナを止めるんだ。
それ以上近寄ると本当にライターを。
レナが命を懸けて俺を救おうとしてくれたように、今度は俺がレナを救う。俺はレナがどんなに立派な最後を遂げたか今でも覚えてるぜ。あの瞳には自分が殺されるかもしれないなんて怯えはわずかもなかった。
These words will reach him, she thought. These next words will make Keiichi-kun realize.
俺を信じろ、レナ
！That was when Rena hit my head with the hatchet. God damn it! I crumpled down to the floor. She hit me with the handle, but my head was probably cut open. I felt the blood on my face.
かわいそうな圭一くん。それは圭一くんの意志じゃない。圭一くんの頭に寄生している奴らがコントロールしているだけなの。今に大石さんが治療する薬を見つけてきてくれるよ。
You goddamn fool!
そうなったら一番最初に飲ませて治療してあげるからね。そうしたらもう圭一くんは奴らの支配から逃れられる。レナの大好きだった圭一くんに戻れるんだよ。
Please somebody summon a fucking miracle. We need one. Bad.
だからもう少し待っててね。
このバカ野郎が
I heard a phone ringing in the teacher's office. Rena listened to the phone ring for a while, then realized it was for her. I wonder if it's her father. Please tell me somebody got him to come over here. Rena tried to answer the phone in the classroom, but she couldn't figure out how to transfer the call. So she decided to answer in the teacher's office instead.
ちょっと職員室に行ってくるね。その間に誰も逃げちゃ嫌だよ。誰か一人でもいなくなってたらみーちゃんが大変なことになっちゃうんだからね。
Rena glared at everyone in the classroom, intimidating them, and then left. That was when I heard a honk from the outside. I remembered the signal from earlier. Did Ushi want to get in touch with me? Don't turn the radio on! I bent down and put the receiver in my earphone in my ear.
聞こえますか?
Oh, thank God. Nothing sparked.
沖宮署の熊谷と申します。聞こえているなら咳払いをしてください。よかった。今から言うことをよく聞いてください。犯人が撒いたガソリンは極めて危険なものです。今教室内には気化したガソリンが充満して巨大な爆弾と同じことになっています。ですから竜宮さんを刺激しないようにし、間違ってもライターをいじらせないでください。さっきのような挑発行為は二度と慎むようお願いします。
盗聴器って嫌なもんだぜ。
気化ガソリンはわずかの火花でも着火する可能性があります。ですのでこの連絡を最後に盗聴器の電源を切ってください。これは万が一に備えてのことです。それから最後に重大な連絡があります。犯人は時限発火装置を仕掛けていると予告しています。
次元？なんだって？
キッチンタイマーを流用した時限発火装置で火花を起こすだけの単純なものですが、現在竜宮レナの要求する解毒剤と偽れる睡眠薬を準備中です。ですが残された時間が長くありません。予告ではタイマーの設定は午後7時。
I looked at the wall clock. It was 6:45 p.m. 15 minutes! There was only 15 minutes left. I could hear Rena screaming into the phone.
いいえ、時間通りです。急いでくださいね。おい、1秒たりとも遅れることは許しません。
聞こえてると思いますが、竜宮レナはタイマーの設定延長には応じないようです。あと15分で本気で心中するつもりです。
I remember thinking the same way as Rena. After I killed Rena and Mion, I knew the police would come. I thought someone would solve the mystery after I was dead. If that's what Rena was thinking, then she had been planning to kill herself from the beginning.
それで俺にどうしろと？
睡眠薬がもうじき届きます。だが交渉中に爆発したら元も子もありません。あなたに次元発火装置を見つけ出して解除して。
よく映画で見るような赤と青のコードを切断するやつですか？
もっと簡単なものでしょう。犯人の予告によるならば、それは台所用のキッチンタイマーです。電池でなくコンセントに挿して動くタイプの目覚まし時計状のものと思われます。教室内のコンセントに何か刺さっていませんか？
There was one outlet in the back and another at the front of the classroom. I checked, but I didn't see anything that was plugged in.
いや、教室内のコンセントには何も。
よその場所で発火しても確実性は低いでしょう。間違いなく
教室内にあるはずです。 いや、多分ないぜ。廊下からコードが引かれてるのはレナが話してる電話だけだ。そのキッチンタイマーが電池式ってことはないのか？電源を供給するタイプですのでコード型に違いありません。あるいは他の部屋ということはありませんか？その教室以外にもガソリンの充満した部屋があるとしたら、そちらの部屋に仕掛けられている可能性があります。学校中を調べろってことかよ。あと15分でか？くそ、俺は負傷中なんだぜ。
If I stayed here, I'd die in 15 minutes. This wasn't a time to be pessimistic. This was probably my last chance to stop this tragedy from taking place. She spread the gasoline while I went out to deliver the scrapbooks, so she must have done it in a fairly short time. I really didn't think she had enough time to spread anywhere else other than the classroom. Then where was the time bomb?
こちらも努力しています。
It can't be in the locker. Or her desk.
ですから、そちらでもご協力をお願いします。以上です。質問がなければこれで更新を終了しますが、何かありますか？特にない。あ、いや、一つある。何でしょう？大石の親父に言っといてくれ。よくも人の古傷をレナに話しやがったなって。もし俺が生きてここを出られたら、ぶん殴ってやるから覚悟しやがれって伝えといてくれ。ああ、2発殴るぜ。俺のことをレナに喋った分と、レナのことを俺に喋った分だ。了解。大石さんも竜宮レナに踊らされたとだいぶへこんでます。きっと殴らせてくれますよ。以上でよろしいですか？ああ、このおしゃべりだけで数分食っちまった。切るぜ。ご無事を。
Click. Rena was still on the phone. Ueshi-san was definitely trying to stall her. From what I could hear, it sounded like he is telling her that they investigated the main Sonozaki residence and found something awful in their secret basement, or something like that. Hey, if you went too far, Rena would believe everything again. Mion was going to get hit again for lying.
Keiichi.
Rika-chan and Satoko crawled up to me.
今の俺の無線、聞いてたか？
トラップは私の先輩特許でしたよ。
I could really use your guys' help if you can offer it to me.
レナさんにお株を奪われるなんて、こんなの死んでも死にきれませんわ。
Satoko realized how serious the situation was as well. The lives of the hostages, including her own, were about to be taken. Yet she tried to remain strong.
サトコ、もし死んでもレナを恨まないでくれ。レナは病気なんだ。運悪く悲しい病気にかかっただけなんだ。だってそうだろ？俺たちはあんなにも明るくて楽しい仲間だったレナをよく覚えてるだろ？
サトコ、僕はレナもみんなも素敵な仲間だと信じていますのですよ。あんなミオンさんにあんな乱暴する人を仲間なんて認められますの？サトコだってわかるはずなのです。心の中の鬼が暴れ出してどんなに悲しくても抗えない時があるのを知っているはずなのです。
Satoko quietly hung her head. I didn't understand what Rika-chan was trying to say to Satoko. But maybe.
レナさんを信じてますわ。
Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but are you saying that Satoko knows exactly what Rena is going through, in a sense? And if that's what you mean, then did she also get infected at some point? I Again, maybe I'm reading too much into this.
偉いぞ、サトコ。
I hugged Satoko's head. Riki-chan's arms were tied, so she couldn't embrace Satoko, but she put her forehead closer to her in praise.
さて、世界最高のトラップ名人に聞くぜ。この部屋を爆破するには、どこに時限発火装置を仕掛ける？
お任せなさいませ。その装置はコンセントに繋がってなければいけませんのね。
ああ、そうだ。でもこの部屋とは限らないぞ。他の部屋にもガソリンが撒いてあって、そこに仕掛けてある可能性もある。
いいえ、そんな時間はなかったと思いますです。多分レナは教室のすぐ近くに隠してあったガソリンを持ってきて、この部屋に撒くくらいだったのですよ。
That's good. Then that means we only have to look in here.
そういやレナは、昨夜俺と別れるとき、明日の準備があるって言ってた気がするぜ。ってことは、何かの仕掛けを昨夜のうちにしてあった可能性もあるな。
それだけのヒントで、私はここに芋虫状態。なかなかに意地悪な難易度の爆弾探しゲームでございますわね。
サトコなら見つけられる。サトコに見つけられないなら、俺にも無理だろうな。だから俺はサトコを信じて、全部をかけるぜ。
サトコならできます。レナを救うためにも、見つけ出してほしいのです。仕方ありませんわね。本気の私の前には、レナさんのトラップなんて問題にもならないことを証明して差し上げてみせましたよ。
I don't know. I don't think there's a single trap I've ever seen you make that's as lethal as this one.
さあ、もう一度聞くぜ。この部屋を爆発させるなら、時限発火装置をどこに仕掛ける？
Satoko grinned and then closed her eyes to concentrate.
何ですかあんたたちは。
Oh, god damn it, they're here too. Again.
どきたまえ。ここの責任者は誰だね。
Several cars had arrived, producing several men. They weren't from the Okinomiya station. One of the men was wearing a suit, despite the hot weather. He approached me, pushing Kumagai aside.
おや、これは。お久しぶりですね。県警本部の大高くんじゃありませんか。
言葉を慎みたまえ。もう君にくんと呼ばれる階級ではない。
何かご用ですかね。大高くん。今非常に立て込んでいます。まさか県警がこの現場を乗っ取ろうつもりで？誰の了解で？
私が許可した、大石君。
所長！
高杉君から事情は聞いている。君が蒔いた種だという話も聞いているぞ。君はもう下がって、あとは機動隊に任せるんだ。
Get them out of here.
機動隊って。大高君、あんたまさか吸収する気ですか？
危険は重々承知だ。
No, you don't.
だがもう爆発まで時間がない。君が時間を浪費しすぎたのだ。その尻拭いを我々がしようというんだ。君らは引き継いで後方に下がりたまえ。
I couldn't talk back if both the chief and a guy from the prefectural headquarters gave me an order.
大石さん、何者っすかあいつは。
大高くん。昔、麻雀がくっそ弱いくせに生きがってたから、ちょいと叩き潰してやったことがありましてね。それともあれかな？剣道大会で偉そうにしてやがったから、面食らわして失神させたのを根に持ってるのかな？
Obviously we didn't get along.
大石君、現在の最新の状況を説明したまえ。
あんた、本気で突入する気で？こっちはもうすぐ睡眠薬で穏便に決着がつけられそうなんだ。それをひっくり返す機会。
もう遅すぎる。 あと1時間あったらその手も検討できたな。突入は府警の専門部隊が担当する。君はバックアップに回りたまえ。
所長、あんた分かってますよね。あの教室は今や巨大な爆弾なんです。だが一番恐ろしい爆弾は教室じゃない。犯人のリュウグウレナ本人なんです。我々はようやくそれをなだめ、穏便に解決する手順を踏み、それを実行しようとしています。時間は確かにもう10分もない。でも必ず成功させてみせます。講習は私が自らやります。ダメなら私が粉々に吹っ飛んでおしまいです。所長たちは離れてそれを見てざまあみろと思ってればいい。
おい石君、府警の専門部隊はただの機動隊じゃないぞ。第二機動隊といえば君ほどの男なら噂くらい聞いてるだろ
う。なんすか大石さん、第二機動隊って有名なんですか
？5年くらい前だっけ、空港の飛行機に犯人が立てこもった事件があったでしょう。あれをきっかけに東京と大阪にハイジャック専門の特殊部隊が組織されたって噂は聞いてましたがね。実在してましたか。
でもなんだって府警の機動隊がこんなところに。
Utaka smiled proudly.
たまたま県警機動隊との交流訓練があってね、特別に応援を要請したのだよ。
相変わらずですね。話をすぐ派手にしたがるその癖は。
The company members exited the vehicles one after another and took position. They didn't move like policemen.
大高君、あんた学校で銃撃戦をやる気かい？一発で大爆発を起こすぞ。
安心したまえ。突入班が使うのは火器じゃない。ボート鎮圧用のガス銃だ。高圧ガスで催涙ガスを噴出する。
That she has a lighter!
何の問題もない。
へえ、そりゃあ便利な水鉄砲があったもんで。ところでそのおもちゃは校庭を横断して教室まで届くほど便利なものなんで。
それは君が心配することではない。あとは我々に任せて下がりたま
え。As I lifted my arms exaggeratedly, one elbow accidentally touched the car horn, which honked. Of course, I did it on purpose.
今のは前原圭一を呼び出すサインですか？
ねえ、そうです。前原君が気づいてくれるのに祈る。
今さら彼に何を？
連中は多分グレネードか何かでガラスをぶち抜いてガス弾を教室に撃ち込んでその隙に突入しようってつもりでしょう。連中はリュウグウレナを甘く見てる。彼女は本気だ。ガラスの割れる音でもライターをためらわず点火する。
特殊部隊には制圧できないってことですか？
No, they can't.
できないに決まってるだろう。だから今まで慎重にやってきたんじゃないの。リュウグウレナは初めから死ぬつもりなんだよ。命が惜しくない奴に突入なんて意味がないんだよ。もう前原さんしかいない。
おいさん、繋がりました。
もしもし、大石です。聞こえてたら咳払いお願いします。緊急の話があります。聞いてください。
どうせ悪い話だろ。
悔しいですが、ビンゴです。県警が介入してきてお膳立てをひっくり返すつもりです。特殊部隊が校舎に突入しようとしています。
おいおい、護身用スプレーでひるませてもその1秒で点火されちまうってんで、俺はずっと抑えてきたんだぜ。突入なんてそんなの無理に決まってるだろ。
県警はリュウグウさんがすでに死ぬ気であることを理解していません。ライターは脅しで点火するわけないと鷹をくくっています。多分5分以内に突入するでしょう。突入する前になんとかリュウグウレナからライターを奪ってください。
それは次元発火装置を何とかしろというオーダーに追加で。
ねえ、そうです。
マジかよ。あと5分でレナからライターを奪って次元発火装置もどうにか。
Those are gonna be the longest 5 minutes that we've ever lived, Keiichi.
やってくれるぜ。
あなただけが頼りなんです。頼みます。
どうですか、さとこ。思いつきますですか？
1階の廊下だけが知りたいんですの。そこに、あるか、ないか。レナさんの行動パターンから考えて、1階ならあそこ、2階ならあそこ。
1階の廊下をコードが横断してないかざっと見ればいいんだな。
多分、あるはず。普段のレナさんなら断言できますけど、今のレナさんはノイズだらけで行動パターンが読み切れませんわ。
よし、任せろ。もう悩むにも時間が足りねえよ。最後の2択は、俺が直接探る。
I don't want another tragedy. You demons down in hell. I bet you're just waiting for an amusing ending to unfold while eating some popcorn. I won't let that happen. I'm going to change everything. And then I'm going to make you pick up your popcorn off the floor. I spoke to Rena as she continued on her story about the aliens.
何？どうしたの、ケイチ君。
いや、今、音が聞こえなかったか？
Rena went quiet and looked around. Rena had become totally paranoid about everything. Once she became worried, she couldn't ignore it.
本当に？ケイチ君。
ああ、聞き間違いじゃない。
I knew she'd want to check it herself. But she really couldn't leave the room for something like that. So in that case, she'd have to ask me to check for her. Rena must have been thinking the same thing.
ケイチ君、見てきて。
Rena gave me an order with a fake smile on her lips.
ああ、わかった。
Rena watched me go out into the hallway. As I did, she spoke to me.
レナを怒らせちゃ嫌だよ。
信用しろ。俺はレナの仲間だ。
うん。信じるよ。信じるから。裏切っちゃ嫌だからね。
After being freed from Rena, I looked for a cord in a hurry. I didn't even have 5 minutes. The office probably had more outlets than anywhere else. I head for the teacher's office. Shit. Where are the outlets? Unlike the light switches, outlets couldn't always be found near entrances. Damn it, why did the clock in the teacher's office have to make such a loud ticking noise?
大丈夫なのですよ。ケイチならきっと見つけてくれますのです。レナさんならいつものレナさんより疑り深いレナさんならどこにどう仕掛けますの？この程度がわからなくてレナさんのトラップで最後なんて北条聡子一生の恥ですわ。
No, she couldn't hide it on herself.
なんだこれ。
I saw a plug inserted into the unit under the principal's desk, and I also saw a cord extending under the door to the reception room. There shouldn't have been any reason why a cord had to be extended into that room. The reception room had an outlet of its own. I tiptoed over to the reception room and opened the door. Squeak. The door squeaked as I cracked it open a little. I poked my head inside the reception room. I saw the suspicious cord crossing the room and extending under the door to the hallway. I followed the cord through the reception room. I opened the door to the hallway, and the cord was extending into the storage closet. The storage closet was used for holding cleaning chemicals. I could smell them from here. The cord was extending into there. I carefully opened the door and turned the light on. The cord was attached to another extension cord. And there was an alarm clock that didn't belong in there.
見つけた。
The time bomb. So all I'd have to do is unplug the cord. I picked up the alarm clock. It looked like a normal alarm clock. Actually, it was a normal alarm clock. I remembered Kumagai calling it a kitchen timer. He said it was a bit like an alarm clock. But this wasn't a bit like an alarm clock. It was an alarm clock. Wait, don't alarm clocks use batteries? This alarm clock is battery operated one too. I think this one might be a dud. Bait even. I looked at the extension cord, and there was nothing plugged into it. Huh? What was this extension cord for? To lure you away from where the bomb actually is? Why was this extending all the way from the teacher's office?
いけないケイチさん、逃げてー。
サトコ。
それは違うんですの。騙された。
A black shadow was covering me. I felt my body freeze. It was so frozen that I felt it was about to crack. I turned around slowly and saw someone holding a hatchet above their head. Shit. I dropped the alarm clock. It made a noise as it hit the ground.
どうしてケイチ君は延長コードをたどって目覚まし時計なんか持ってるのかな
All the cells in my body were frozen. This was Rena's trap. Rena was suspicious of everyone, including me. This whole time, she thought there was someone connected to the people outside. This was a trap to lure that person out. Only the people outside knew about the time bomb. I was told about the whole thing, and so I followed the extension cord and picked up the alarm clock. How stupid of me. Fucking brilliant. Bad for me, and Keiichi and everybody else, but I gotta admire it. The brilliance of this trap of yours. You really thought your shit through.
待て、レナ。
ケイチ君のこと信じてたのに。ひどいよ、ケイチ君。
Rena hit me with the backside of the hatchet earlier. It was painful, but it didn't kill me. But this time, she was holding the hatchet the right way. It wouldn't just crack my forehead. It would split my entire head open. Rena lifted the hatchet mercilessly. She moved slowly, as if everything was in slow motion. She looked almost divine. Maybe it really was holy. I was praying after all. Praying? What was I praying for? I was praying for my life. Rika? It was so sudden, I couldn't tell what happened. Rika-chan had jumped onto Rena from behind. I didn't know what kind of weapon Rika-chan used, but Rena started moaning. It clearly hurt. The syringe? That brought me back to reality. I couldn't just watch them. I had to get the lighter from Rena.
力ずくでなら勝てると思うんじゃねえ。
Rena knew I was after the lighter. She closed her fingers around it tightly. Rika-chan was grabbing onto the arm Rena was holding the hatchet in. I wanted to tell her to run, but thanks to Rika-chan, I could use both of my hands to get at the lighter. The lighter flew out of Rena's hand. It hit the hallway wall and dropped down to the floor. I picked it up. At the same moment I did, Rena managed to shake off Rika-chan. There's our chance. I turn in Satoko's direction. Oh boy, another choice.